You are now entering Maximum Driftcast, the only drifting podcast hosted by a Spanish soccer mom, a 30-year-old silver-haired fox going on 60, and finally, a 200-pound bowl of spaghetti with chimichanga arms.
The champions, we are the champions.
All right, can I do it? Can you hear?
Hear what, Sam?
Hear the impression that you're just doing of me being drunk on a plane coming back from England.
So anyways, long story short, guys, we were trying to figure out an intro for the show. We did 2 impersonations, and I'm going to redo mine.
Yep.
So this is how I seek redemption. And my intro is going to be Sam drunk on an airplane. Welcome you all to Maximum Driftcast.
Thinking that he's recording the show while I was actually on an airplane.
Yep. So here we go. This is Sam drunk on an airplane welcoming you all. Hey guys, it's Sam here. And welcome to Maximum Driftcast. My name's Sam, and Paco and Corey's here too, guys. Check them out.
So I get even more nasally, and I kind of sound like Beavis.
Hey, Sam.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate, actually.
Well, I just figured out elevation, so your breathing's not very good.
It's not. I always sneeze a lot on airplanes, and everyone's like, "Oh, is that guy getting sick?"
Guy.
Also, right. So let me tell you kids a pro tip about flying. What you want to do is you want to fill little tiny bottles. You know, the little bottles of booze. You can just reuse those, fill them up yourself, and bring them on the plane. And right when I sit down on the plane to fly directly from the Drift Atlanta to England for this shoot, right, and I unfortunately had to leave right after Top 32, which sucks. But so I get on the plane. There's a baby across the aisle from me. I'm like, cool, this is gonna be a great flight. Baby screaming, newborn, whatever. And then the plane takes off, and I'm like, all right, time. Babies have had a drink. Time for daddy to have a drink. You know,
Yeah.
so I pull out my little plain bottle of whiskey and immediately spill it all over my lap. And like the entire fucking plane just like reeks of whiskey now for the next 3 rows. And the mom with the baby sitting across the aisle from me just kind of looks over and shakes her head. She's like, motherfucker. Like,
You smell like whiskey.
you're getting my baby drunk off these whiskey fumes.
Try to knock them out, dude.
Maybe, I would say like maybe the baby will just soothe.
It was actually a very well-behaved baby. I don't think it cried at all.
It's
And-
probably just a puppet.
Oh my God. I think you're right.
Well, you know, with this all these scandals going on with the airlines, I think somebody will like try to bring a puppet baby,
Yeah.
to then like randomly get kicked out and make
see if
money
they-
out of
yeah.
it.
I have taken puppet
Airline.
babies on the airplane because.
By the way, puppet baby is just known as a doll. By the way, but I like how you're calling the baby doll a puppet baby. But
well, think about it. Like, what if like you spilled your drink and the baby puppet looked at you and was like, "Stop spilling your drink, guy."
it's terrifying.
But-
So is this what the show's been like for the past 2 weeks since it's been
Oh,
gone?
there's
Is
nothing-
Dude, everything's went downhill. Our viewers.
yeah, I heard that last week's episode was the worst ever rated.
Nobody listened. to
Nobody
that one.
listened to it at all.
Nobody cares about drama.
Don't
Dude,
blame them.
Sam, this
Yeah.
show literally went ass backwards with you gone. So
But it went to rear entry.
yeah, I went to reverse entry, and we're hoping to get our shit back together.
Yeah.
Honestly, like
Let's get back
it's-
together. How many dad jokes you guys have while I was gone?
Dad jokes. We didn't have really many dad jokes. We did. Did you listen to the last episode at all? Even just
I
a little
never
bit?
do.
All right, I do sometimes. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. But last intro was one of my favorite intros that we've done.
Damn it.
Oh my God, that's right. You need to listen to that one, Sam.
And I started it off by saying, well, now that Sam's not here controlling the intros, I'm going to do one that I want to do since Sam can't tell me to stop.
Boy.
Okay. So the intro was.
I think we should play it.
Well, I can hear it after, but
Okay,
just for the fans.
So basically, what I did, Sam, was we played the Champions theme song.
Sure.
And then I was Jared Dienda.
That's a good. Why do
Well,
I mean?
we
I would,
both were
I would
Jared
support
Dienda.
that. Why would you think I wouldn't support that?
Because we typically has our intros that are saved on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
And so since we didn't have anything to use off your computer, we had to make our own. So,
So you didn't actually use the
No,
Jared Dienda?
we made our own.
No, we made our own. So I was like,
Hey, welcome to Spaghetti.
Driftcast. We got a gray-haired silver bowl of spaghetti.
Silver boy. Well, your
Yeah.
Jared impression is
Yeah.
perfect.
We got a Mexican speaking soccer mom.
Yep.
With
Who was-
no
is that
arms.
Jared Dehenna sitting
Yeah.
next to me?
And we got a freaking great-haired fox with the spaghetti pants. Oh, yeah. Yeah, welcome back. I'm Jared.
All right, well,
Jabroni.
since I wasn't here to talk about Formula Drift Atlanta, let's just go over it all again.
Let's just do that. How about that?
No, that was a joke. I don't want to do that. But
Actually, we didn't talk about it.
It was
just very
good.
briefly, but it was good.
We talked about James the Carney
Carne asada.
Carney the
Carney
Carney.
Dean
Asada.
Carney Asada.
Yeah.
All right, well, I got a
Carney.
new name for him finally. I was really wondering what his nickname was going to be, and
Carney.
it just happened.
Dean the Carney Asada.
Dean Carney Asada. Yep.
We talked about him. We talked about James.
Jimmy Dean sausages.
James Bean
Jimmy
Bean
Dean.
Mean.
Jimmy Bean, mean, the mean bean.
Yep, the Mean Bean.
The mean bean.
The mean bean flick. The mean
bean
Whoa,
flicking-
Paco, easy.
Paco's
easy.
going back to the bean. Oh man. So, anyways, the highlight of the event was Kristaps, obviously.
Yeah,
So
which I
we-
did.
Yeah.
Which so I watched. I was going through airport security and boarding this plane, and I was actually able to watch almost all of top 16 to the end, and then we took off literally right as the final 3 battles are going on. And so then the plane didn't have Wi-Fi, so I missed it all. And as a quick funny side note, since I left after top 32, I had Lauren HD Heavy Ding. He was shooting exterior, and I had Danny, Chelsea's NBC racing video guy, doing in-car for Vaughn. So I had some people working my job. But the rule that we had was that if Vaughn podiums, then Lauren's going to make the video. And if he doesn't podium, then I am making the video on the plane and not sleeping at all for this red-eye flight. So I was just like, if Vaughn wins and keeps winning, I get to sleep on this flight. So I'm watching Vaughn progress beyond top 32. I was like, yep, looking good. All right, because he was going up against Byron, which was always tough because he qualified first. And then top 16, he wins. I'm like, all right, we're looking good, looking
boys.
good. And then we get to 8, and if he wins, did he lose an 8 or 4? I don't remember.
I think 8.
8. Yeah. So if he wins that, I think he was pretty much guaranteed to get a podium because he could have lost in 4. And since he qualified first, so it's like, all right, smooth sailing here. And then I saw him lose, and that was right as my plane was taking off. So it's like, all right, cool.
Do you know what you should have done is fell asleep instantly saying you missed it.
Yep.
Now, I was out before top 16 was over, man. I was just beat. So if you want to finish it for me, let me know.
Yeah.
So did you guys pre-recorded a defeat video?
No, because the rule is that we don't do a talking video. Like we don't do a hey, I'm Vaughn, your Vaughn impression. We don't do that unless he podiums. If he doesn't podium, we just do a cool jammer action vid, which is what we did.
There was still a little video of him, but it was kind of like cell phone.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
just his.
Got it.
That's his media guy, Crenshaw.
Yeah.
Hey, Crenshaw. Crenshaw actually, after working with him for
Got
2 months on the team, he at like third event or whatever, he walks up to me. He's like, so I just realized that you're the guy from Maximum Driftcast, and like we've been hanging out this whole time. It's like I just realized that that's you. It's like, yeah, really embarrassing for you to be on the team, Crenshaw, and not be aware.
Dude, hey, do you know what? Can you reintroduce yourself to me, bud? Hey, do you know what? Can you reapproach me?
Yeah, just to be clear, I am Sam. This is Corey. That's Paco, and we are Monkeys.
Pants.
Monkey Pants.
Mañana.
Have
Great
you ever
bar.
have you ever played the arrogant role?
What do you mean?
Like a fan comes up and meets you and you're like, "What?
What do you need?
Yeah, you know me?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's knuckle up.
Get out of here.
Scram.
Skit,
Hit
scat.
him with like a rolled up newspaper, like the
Yeah.
puppy chewing on a corner of a couch.
No, I've actually met some really cool duders and dudettes in Atlanta, and a couple of which had said that they literally drove like 18 hours from like Chicago and deeper and further elsewhere in the country,
Yep.
literally because on our show we said that Atlanta's the coolest event.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry for that, but thank you for driving for 18
Formula
hours.
Drift, you're welcome for the
Yeah.
extra attendance from our side.
No, it's cool. Atlanta is one of the best events.
It is.
It really is. So they definitely got their money's worth.
And one kid mentioned that he just showed up to see me hopefully hop on rollerblades and fly down the hill to chase
Like
to
Corey
chase a
was
car.
gonna
Yeah.
do. See,
No, Corey was doing it for fun. I was doing it for filming.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, Corey was going to be my spotter.
Yeah. Sam, you're clear? You're clear? Oh, shit, Sam.
All right,
Okay,
let's
it's in
go.
the kid
We're
litter.
gonna hold hands.
Turn, Sam. Turn, Sam.
We're gonna hold hands going down the hill and roller
straight
skates.
to the kid litter. You got a chance to meet XX Bieber Babe and Aaron Dookie.
No, I missed them the entire time. Like they were, yeah, they were doing like Snapchats, creeping on Vaughn's pit and whatnot.
They
And
kept
actually,
saying that you kept ignoring them.
no, I didn't even see them.
That's arrogant Sam coming back.
Jesus.
That's
I didn't even see them. I saw them Snapchat a creep shot of me, but they never actually yelled and said like, "Hey, Sam, over here." I was just
What?
setting GoPros in the car.
We're officially calling out Bieber Babe
Yeah, you
and
creeps.
Aaron Dookie.
Come
You
say hi, guys, instead
you
of lurking.
pair. Yeah.
You creepers.
Just get in there. I mean, yeah, he looks busy, but just tell him like, "Hey, dude, what's up?
Hey,
It's
man.
us."
It's us. Don't be weird. And we kept on getting upskirts of me too, which is also
The
really
upskirts?
uncomfortable. Yeah, because I was wearing a skirt as I
Mhm.
do,
Yeah.
Friday skirt day,
Mm-hmm.
and it's more of like a kimono, I would want to say.
Oh, okay.
You see my kimono.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So it was like,
Pretty short though.
and every time I bent over to set up a GoPro, they were just like, ooh.
Nothing but
Did they get a kumbono?
Oh, Corey. Then that's the type of colorful imagery that I like to hear. Oh, no, but there's one other thing that I kind of want to bring up, and it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable for me because like, I don't want to bring this out in the public, but Chelsea is on Vaughn's team, of course.
Yep.
And we talk to each other every now and then at the events, but he's a real creep. He's been hitting me up all the time.
Really?
And it's getting...
You're talking
he's-
about Denofa.
Yeah. It's like, I want to be friends with the guy, right? But he
Right.
calls me like 10 times a day, like, oh, what are you doing? Like, oh, I just watched this. Ugh. All right, well,
Speaking of, huh?
let's
Hold
settle.
on.
Let's
You're saying hi, I'm not.
let's settle this.
You're saying hi, I'm not.
Hey, Chelsea.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. How about yourself?
Fine. What is it this time? This is the 15th time we've talked today, and I just want to bring it up now to the world that I'm sick of you constantly hitting my phone, asking how I'm feeling, what I'm doing, like what I'm sleeping on.
That's
Well,
true.
it's going towards what inevitably is going to happen.
What's gonna happen?
Uh-oh.
That everyone on Snapchat saw you kissing my head at the last event.
Ooh.
I did do that actually.
So do you know what happens is you emotionally connected to him where he wants more.
Yep.
That is
Right.
what's happening.
I'm
Yeah.
not giving him any more, so he's struggling.
Oh,
Wow,
man,
that turned around quickly.
So, Sam, can you...
Yeah, so I'll explain this Snapchat that Chelsea may or may not be referring to. So let's just say that if Vaughn did have a Project Cars simulator in his pit now, and you have VR goggles on and
Right.
headphones, you can't see or hear anything, and you're just kind of sitting there just asking to be fucked with.
Right.
And
Pretty much.
and Chelsea's playing after hours, and I made a Snapchat of me going up and kissing him on the forehead.
That's sweet of
Sounds
you.
lovely.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? That reminds me, usually you want to kiss your significant other on the forehead to wish them luck before his race.
Exactly,
that's
which
real
I
love right
which I
there.
tried to do on Saturday, but there was a helmet, so I just left a big smooch on his visor.
Nice.
Yeah, that's why I lost. So.
Yeah.
Damn it, Sam.
Actually, do you know what? You went the furthest you've ever gone, so I think
Yeah.
it may have worked.
I would say it
Their
worked.
car, yeah, for sure.
Yep, so congrats, Sam.
You're welcome, guys.
I wish that all to Sam.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
Officially.
So we haven't talked to you since, I think we kind of talked to you a little bit at the end of the last year, but mostly we haven't had you on the show since you won Long Beach in 2016. As everyone is, I'm sure, aware, you now are on Von Gittin Jr. team, and you are driving a nearly identical Mustang. So how's that going?
It's going really well. I'm actually a lot better than I thought it was going to. Not that I had low hopes. I mean, I knew it was going to be really good, but it's just like at least a few times better than I thought it would ever be. So it's
Really?
really, really good.
What did you expect out of it initially?
I guess I really didn't know exactly what to expect. I knew that they had a team that had won a lot of championships or a lot of events, and with the people on their team, they've won a few championships, and I don't know. I don't really know what I expected, other than that it was, I guess, going to be a little easier for me because I was wearing so many hats before.
Yeah.
But now it's not only is it easier, it's a lot of fun, and everyone on the team is awesome, and the car is great. And it's really just me catching up kind of thing to get to the next step.
Yeah, and I forget, did we talk to you, Chelsea? Anyone can answer here. Did we talk to you after Team Vaughn was announced? I don't think we have. Yeah, so I had mentioned on the show, at least briefly, at least I remember standing in Irwindale after your BMW with its brand new motor was screwing up and didn't work, and I remember you walking into the trailer and like, hey, I'm going to be on your team next year, Vaughn. How do we make that happen? Because, of course, you've already had some dialogue with him. He had asked you, I imagine, at least somewhat informally, if you were interested. But you remember...
Not really, no.
No, really? You just kind of walked in there straight up and you're like, hey, I'm on your team?
They probably asked him what was his diet for the week.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, Vaughn and I had been, a little more than acquaintances, but, not really, close friends or anything. And I had heard through the grapevine that he was trying to find another driver, but we had never actually spoke about it before that.
Yeah. And what inspired you in that moment to jump into the trailer and say, hey, man, how do I make this happen?
Well, I tried to drive for a few other teams, and it just never really worked out. Couldn't really figure out all the details, or maybe they didn't want me on their team or something. I have no idea. But, yeah, I mean, I was just like, I was kind of over it. I wasn't going to drive Formula D unless I drove for another team. I couldn't do it myself. It just wasn't working. I gave it 5 years of trying to figure it out, and it never worked. So I was like, well, I'm not really capable of doing this all by myself, so, let me drive for another team. And Vaughn was, like, sitting in his trailer, and I was like, actually, like, that's a pretty good team. That's pretty much the best team in the biz.
Oh,
Like,
my God,
I'm going to go tell him I'm going to drive for him.
This is so much more informal than I knew.
Yeah. And I was like, I walked in, I was like, yo, like, I heard you might be running a 2-car team. If you're running a second car, I'm your driver, and I'm going to drive it. So you just tell me what you need from me, and I'll take care of it, and hopefully we can make it work, and I'll drive for you next year. And he kind of laughed, and I was like, what are you laughing at, kind of thing? Like, if there's another car coming, I'm driving it. Like,
Yeah, from what he told us on an interview, that's exactly what he liked. That you just got there and said it. I'm the one. I'm the one you're gonna pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was. It was like, hey, I don't want to say it's a last-ditch effort, but it was like, yo, like, I'm driving for another team next year. You're the best case, so let's do it. And, like, I feel like I can bring some things to the team, and I feel like we can work together. And obviously you're going to be giving me a little bit of a handout, but give me what I need to do to make it work, and let's move on and do it.
Well, hot damn. So before we get into the Mustang, it seems like fans are by and large, like 99% maybe, super happy and super supportive of you. And I think you're a popular fans driver anyways, but there's always that little bitch kid on the internet that says,
No way.
Okay, I take that back. There's always someone on the internet that is disappointed in you for not driving a cool BMW and instead driving a corporate Mustang now.
Well, is there a question there?
Yeah. Like, what do you think? What would you say to that kid?
Oh, I would just tell him, like, hey, man, like, I've been doing this for 14 years on my own and trying to make it happen, and a great opportunity arose. I said it's, like, no different than, like, if you spent 14 years going to school and then tried to find a job and the best job possible popped up in your hand. And maybe it wasn't driving the car that you wanted, but the job was the best job possible.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I did. I was, like, I was schooling myself forever trying to find the gig, and you know what? I was never really a Mustang fan per se. Like, I thought Fox bodies were cool and like whatever, and the new Mustang when it came out, I was like, oh, that's a cool looking car. Like, Ford's finally doing cool stuff, but I never would have thought like I'm going to build a Mustang drift car, you know. And then now I'm driving a Mustang drift car, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not. It's a very different Mustang than I think the previous year's Mustangs have been. Now that's got the independent rear suspension and just the layout and the suspension that it has. It's definitely more of a balanced car, at least from my outsider's perspective.
Yeah, and like I know this is going to sound like I'm just trying to plug Ford or whatever, but
you're allowed to do, considering.
Right, I am, but truthfully, like, they are really, really good cars. Like, it is crazy. Like, I have a S197 now, which is like the year before last, and it just has knuckles and BC coilovers on it, and it like rips.
Yeah.
Like, it drifts really, really good. I obviously still have a BMW and an E36, and I love driving those as well. But like, I think a few years ago, if somebody told you like, "Oh, I'm going to put steering angle and some shocks on a Mustang and go drift it," you would have laughed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, go ahead. Sorry, Chelsea.
Yeah, but I was saying, but it's totally actually a really good platform. So,
yeah. Well, before we get too involved with the Mustangs, let's hear about the BMW and the issues you had with that over the years. Because even when we first got into it, 5 years ago, everybody was kind of putting their targets on you. I was like, oh, Chelsea's coming back into FD or getting FD. It's going to be the big show, big dog coming in. And then it seems like throughout the years, it was super inconsistent. What was the troubles you were having with that car?
I think the first 2 years, it was mainly driveline issues, and we didn't really have a big budget. We were running stock transmissions and breaking those, and then, having small little issues here and there. But we weren't really having any motor issues in the beginning. And then once we got all the driveline stuff figured out, we had a year where we finished, I think, 13th or something it was probably 11th in the championship. That was like our best finishing year with that car. And it was like still very, very simple. And then after that year, we kind of turned it up and started making more power and put a dog box in it. And like, then we just started blowing motors like left and right. I mean, I think in 14 it was like 3 motors, which wasn't like so bad. But in 15 it was like 5 motors. And then 16 it was like 9 motors.
Every motor.
And are they built motors? Yeah. Are they fully built?
Yeah, they were fully built. And every time they were built in a different way to try to help with the issues that we were having. And it didn't really happen to work out that way.
And what engine was this?
It's a M52, which is like a BMW 328 motor.
320, okay.
And we would run like S52 crank and then custom pistons, custom rods. The heads were all custom done. And it was we made a lot of power, and we needed to make that power in order to be competitive. But at the same time, it wasn't competitive because it broke it every round.
And throughout the years of you driving that BMW, you also drove a couple other chassis that you borrowed from people at certain rounds. What did you all drive outside of that BMW? You drove, a 240 in one, S14?
Yeah, I drove an S14 with a 1J that was like 420 horsepower. We were able to qualify with that. I borrowed another S14 that was Odie's car, and I crashed it.
Yeah, that's an Irwindale.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
the Irwindale Bomber.
That was that was like the worst weekend ever. So I was like, oh, it's to Vaughn. It can't get any worse.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. It's like I think after you walked out of the trailer there, Vaughn's like, I don't know, what do you think? Sam was like, oh, this is weird. Why would he ask me? I was like, well, he did just crash Odie's car. It's like, I don't know if we should be giving him one, but it's
What ended up happening there? Did you say it was mechanical that caused that, or did you try leaving your dingus on the track?
Well, I had never driven an S14 with like Wisefab stuff before, and I threw it in and like did what I would normally do, and the car just steered itself into the wall because crazy Wisefab.
Wisefab's fault.
Yeah,
totally.
I mean, obviously there's driver error there for sure.
Yeah,
but like the lap before that and the lap after that, I didn't do that. So
yeah, and that's one of the things that I think that people like about you, and that I like about you. Not to be weird, Sam. Is that you take a borrowed car and you drive it 100%. Like I would think properly so. If I was in a borrowed car, I would probably give it like 80 max.
No, he turned it up to 11 and buried it.
And you're like,
the thing is I was driving it at like 70% when I wrecked it.
Oh, so it needed to be driven 100%.
Yeah, well, I'm probably glad I wasn't driving it.
What he's trying to say is it doesn't need more than 70% to wreck somebody's car.
So what I want to know is, when you went back to Odie, did you just tell him somebody stole the car from you and buried it?
Yeah.
And you just lost. How did you have that conversation with him? Or what was your excuse?
I was like, I was on the line, and somebody beat the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Took the car
Right.
and drove it straight into the wall. And I got in the tow truck, drove out, and met him there. And then that's what happened.
I'm so sorry. Like I saw the guy running towards the bathrooms. I'm gonna go over there and get him.
Sir, can I borrow your tow truck? My car just got buried into the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah, Victor, let me borrow your tow truck real quick.
Yeah,
somebody
good.
stole my car.
Hopefully Odie took that well.
Well, what's crazy is that after all that happening, then you still have Forsberg like, hey, Chelsea, can you drive my car? And give it a little test.
So hold on, how did Odie take that?
Well, I he was driving and obviously concentrating on the event.
Yeah.
So I actually texted his wife and I said, hey, just let Odie know, like, I'm fixing the car already. I'm still going to go out for qualifying. Hopefully I don't total it out even more. And we'll figure this out
How
afterwards.
reassuring. Yeah.
I didn't want to bother him,
Yeah.
So I don't know if she texted him, but she probably just said, the car's great. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. And, I had to get some parts made, and I ended up bending quite a few different things on there. And then in, like, January, he called me. He was like, hey, I'm going to run this car in Formula D next year. I'm like, oh, my God.
Yes.
So that's cool. I didn't think about the fact that...
crashed the shit out of your car, and now you're going to take it and use it for next year's FD. Great.
I didn't even think about the fact that was that car. For some reason, I was thinking...
I thought it was a new one, too. That's a good point.
Yeah.
You're just trying to ball up everybody's shit this year.
I know.
Dude.
And then Chris is like, "Oh, my car that I've only done one lap in. Hey, can you go beat the shit out of it for me and try to break it?"
And did you
I'm
know,
like,
Yep.
did you end up breaking it? Did you pop the motor?
Well, I mean, you might want to ask him that question.
Oh.
I'm not really at
Well,
liberty to
we kind of
discuss.
did.
We spoke to, or they spoke to him a little bit last week, and I was actually with Forsberg doing a shoot at the moment, which is why he couldn't be there. But
Right.
but he was getting like text message updates every 30 minutes from you, and he wanted you, of course, as I'm sure he told you, to beat the crap out of it and look for weaknesses. And I remember you texting that it was a bit of a beast.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, that car. It's pretty good. The anti-lag is like totally unnecessary. It doesn't even need it. And then they have nitrous on top of that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely wild. I never thought that you could build a turbo car that would be that responsive. It is insane.
Right.
It's pretty much as responsive as my car was with nitrous and blowing up every 2 laps. But his seems to last more than 2 laps right now, so that's good.
Well,
think it did
hopefully,
5.
yeah. Hopefully, we're gonna finally see the debut in New Jersey. And
Hopefully.
Yeah, I hope
flawless,
so. I mean,
flawless debut.
the car is fantastic.
Yeah.
Driving that was like, oh shit, we better turn our stuff up.
Yeah, well, it sounds like they got most of the issues resolved, and the only reason it didn't make Atlanta was just because of timing for working on it and testing it. But yeah, hopefully we see that out there. So, step back for a second. What was the weakness on the BMW motors that was breaking? You said like just everything was breaking on them, or was there one big crutch that kids need to know about?
They're really, really reliable up to about 725 horsepower. Like, our first motor came out of my street car and went 2012 FD, 2013, and I lost the oil pump nut in like halfway through the season in 2014. So it was like a really, really reliable motor setup. And it ended up blowing up just because of a stupid small thing that ended up taking the whole motor apart. But
You drop,
after that, we were just having cylinder pressure problems, and we were having head gasket issues, and we fixed that. Then we were stretching the head studs and blowing the O-rings out and basically filling the motor with water, the cylinder with water. And then once we started going bigger head studs, we were breaking the block. So we ended up just chasing this little issue that pretty much was essentially everything in the motor can't hold on past 725.
Yeah.
So we tried to band-aid that and make like 650, but make a ton of torque to make a good power band. And then we were blowing motors up still, and it was just, all leads back to just being cylinder pressure problems.
Well, I'm glad you fixed it with an LS.
Yeah. Then we had an injector lock up on our LS.
Yeah, so that was...
We were running a decent amount of nitrous and just melted a cylinder down.
And that was the final forum. That was at Irwindale last year. You finally decided to go LS, and then some freak accident there, or what happened with that? Corey's asking.
Yeah, I had new injectors, and I had 2 full sets, and I went and did all the testing on one set of injectors, sent them out to get cleaned. They were fine. The data was good for them, so we had our second set of injectors in, and at some point that number 6 injector failed, and I melted number 6 piston. Pretty much gone. Turned into like basically just a wrist pin. So,
Nice.
yeah, we were running a lot of nitrous on that motor though. So,
Yeah.
it was no good.
So let's get into the Mustang then. So let's talk about your first time behind the wheel of the Mustang during. Oh, Paco's got one.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yeah. First question: how many people you
No,
took
Paco, we're not
took
doing
down
it. We're not doing it.
first time?
We're done.
I just did.
Chelsea, did Vaughn tell you to never make jokes about Mustangs running into crowds at car shows?
I don't think he ever told me not to.
But you kind of know that we shouldn't talk about that.
I mean, that's not really a Mustang thing. It's an idiot driver.
Oh,
thing.
absolutely.
I 100% I agree, and I said my theory is not the Mustang. It's just that Mustangs are the most popular sports car among people
Cheap.
who doesn't know. No,
Yeah.
among people who doesn't know about cars.
Well, let's say cheap
Well,
rear-wheel drive.
Also, I
torque.
think a lot of it is like it has a limited slip, it has a lot of torque, and I think people don't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
Whereas I think some of the other cars that maybe makes good power that are sports cars might still have an open diff or might have some sort of traction control thing that stops them, but Mustangs just blow the tires off all the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say you see fewer GT86s doing that because they have 160 horsepower.
Right.
So if you actually
Right.
had 350 horsepower in one of those, I think you would see just about as many jackasses messing those up. So now that-
Probably, but I do think the Mustang culture has a little bit more of a wild aspect to them. So
yeah,
it might be. You probably see a lot more crazy stuff in general happening with them, but then because of that, there's more crashes.
Yeah. But yeah, it is absolutely is a driver, the typical driver who buys Mustang. It's kind of like the typical driver who buys BMWs and never uses turn signals.
yeah.
Right, it's the same thing.
So did
I
you?
laugh because I see like brand new SUV BMWs driving down the road with like someone that probably this is their first BMW and they already don't use the turn signals.
Yeah, I would just if I owned a BMW, I'd just have my hazards on the whole time.
Right.
Right.
That's which way I'm going.
Go
Which way am I going?
do the opposite.
Look
Just
out.
let everyone know that I'm
Yeah,
there.
that's very conscious of you.
Thank you.
That's nice, Sam.
Still cause a lot of
Well,
confusion, but
And all the new BMWs, whenever you start driving like an idiot, it does that anyway because it thinks you're getting into a crash. So it puts the hazards on and rolls the windows up.
really.
Oh, yeah.
So like if the car starts spinning out and you're forcefully spinning it out like you're drifting around the track, it'll freak out and throw on the hazards.
Yeah, you don't even have to be doing that. Like we were at the ring driving one and just going around turns too fast. It was like hazards on, windows rolled up. Like,
It wants to
crash
trap you.
alert.
That's
That's
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
That's to keep you from reproducing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a trapper.
Perfect.
So did you see that Mustang video of like last week where some guy at a car show just rips straight into a wall?
That's local car show. actually.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I didn't see that one. No.
There was-
Oh, I did. It was like a double.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the first one was the decoy.
That's
Yeah.
Like
Arizona.
now they're
Right,
working.
right,
now they're
right.
working in pairs. So
So-
they send a decoy. You run the other way, and
Yeah.
then comes the second one,
Right.
and that's the one that these guys who were recording barely dodged.
So unfortunately, this is our local car show that like I was going to when I was 16, and it's
Is
called
it
the-
really?
Yeah, unfortunately. And there's like from a year ago, there's some kid in a like a
Corvette.
brand new Corvette just bashes it
Yeah.
against a
But
palm tree, T-bones it.
Fun fact: these two Mustangs from that video, those both were V6s.
Hell yeah.
Still too much
Yeah.
power.
Dude, the
Still
V6
too much power.
The V6 still has as much power as my STI.
And
Hey,
they
Honda.
still have a limited slip.
And do you know what, Chelsea? I don't know if you know this, but Sam is also a Ford guy too. He was a previous Ford owner.
Yeah, my first car was a Fox body.
no, you better. You had a
And then
better
after
Ford.
that,
than
you
that.
had another.
yeah,
buddy.
after that I had a Ford Probe GT.
GT,
so V6.
motherfucker.
Suck on that.
Suck on those eggs, Chels.
Mazda, though.
Yeah, this is pretty much a Mazda. A Mazda 6.
Mustang 6.
Those
And-
motors are kind of cool, though. They go to like 8,000 RPM.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
motor's,
it's a-
it was a badass V6 motor.
It's called
Sam-
the KLDE engine.
Yeah,
Paco.
Sam put a slam shifter in a tweeter valve and ended up
The
making
tweeter valve.
220 crank on her.
It was rad.
He had a turbonetic.
The best part about owning that car too, as I've said on the show previously, is my mom. She's always been kind of like a car lady, but not like really in depth. But she likes fun cars, and she told me this as she handed that car down to me when I was
She
like
blessed
16.
you
She
with
was
it?
no, she's like, yeah, I was either between this or a Supra, and she's like, yeah, I decided to go with a Ford Probe in the end. I was like, oh, mom. Oh, my first car could have been a Supra. It probably would have been a non-turbo, but it doesn't fucking matter. It could
Who
have
cares?
Yeah, and then
You'd have been the coolest kid ever.
no, I mean, I was still
But
the
instead,
coolest.
you got a probe.
Yeah, I was the coolest kid ever with a probe. You know, it was the coolest.
Yeah.
I
coolest
can't believe your mom gave you a probe,
How
dude.
many 8,000 RPM neutral drops did you do with that thing?
Quite a few. I mean, well, it was a stick, so I mean,
Oh.
yeah. So it was a stick. I'm not.
It was a GT, dude.
Man,
Yeah.
It was.
I just wondered if it hurt.
It was a pretty. It was a lot of fun. I did a sleepy eye mod on it, so the pop-up headlights only went up a little bit.
Wow.
Couldn't see where I was going down the road most of the time.
Right.
So JDM.
Yeah, that was rad. I had an HKS muffler, just the muffler though, bolted onto it.
That's cool.
I had Midas Auto Body do it, and they burnt a hole through the side of the muffler, so it sounded super loud.
Oh my goodness.
So did it hurt when you first got the probe?
Yep. I would say that.
Which
I would
kind of
say that
probe
it
was
was
it?
uncomfortable to sit down,
And
in it
especially when
for a
your
little
mom
bit.
gave it to you.
Yeah, so my mom gave me the probe. My mom gave me the probe, and I couldn't sit in it a lot because just it was uncomfortable. Just the way
Right.
that the whole probe felt.
And you had to take some time to develop the probe.
And once I developed the probe, and I spent a lot more time with it, I was able to really find something that I enjoyed.
I could see that taking a little time to get comfortable with.
Yeah, but once I was
It's an
comfortable,
acquired taste.
yeah, well, and not everyone can just really get the probe.
Right.
Like it takes
Right.
a special. Like there's a whole group of people on the internet that are into probes.
Uh-huh.
So
So it took you a while to squeeze in. That's cool.
Yeah.
No, but it makes sense. It's all full circle. You know, Vaughn likes Ford guys.
yep. So that's why here we are. Man.
Perfect circle. All right, I get it now.
So back to the original question. What was your first experience like with the Mustang FD card?
It's a serious question.
Probed.
Don't laugh at it.
Don't
it's
laugh.
a serious
It was
question,
a lot better
dude.
than being probed.
Yep.
But it was good. I went out to North Carolina and I showed up, and I actually had never seen the car like completed until that moment. So it was really cool to walk around, check it out, and take a look at everything. It was also the first time I met most of the guys on the team.
Yeah.
So that was really cool, and I jumped in it, and they were setting the motor up and everything, so I had to drive mostly below like 40% throttle for the first like 10 laps, which was a good thing because at 40% throttle, that thing was still like insane. So it was nice to have an excuse why I wasn't flooring it.
Yeah.
So I did some laps, and then they kept turning it up more and more, and by the end of the day, I was able to blaze it pretty hard, and that track is pretty, long and swoopy kind of easy turns, and the car felt good. I was like, damn, this thing feels a lot like my car, but it has instant power, and it's lasted twice the amount of laps it did the last year. So.
Hey, Sam, this actually I want to have a quick discussion with Sam here, and you can listen in, Chelsea.
Yep.
What I imagine is, how the unveiling went, or how I would imagine the unveiling went with Vaughn and Chelsea. And what I imagine is Chelsea walking up, and there's a tarp on the car, and Vaughn goes, "Hey, Chelsea, you ready to see your ride?" And Chelsea's like, "Oh my God, I've been waiting for this." And he goes, "Your ride just been pimping my daddy." And he pulls the thing off, and he sees the Mustang, and he goes, "Chelsea, I know you like champagne, so I put a champagne mixer in the trunk of the car.
Yep.
I know you like bikes,
Yep.
so guess what? We got rid of the racing seat. You got a bike seat for your racing seat.
I know you like shrimp cocktails, so glove box full of them.
Check it.
Check it
Here,
out.
go drive it, Chelsea." And that's how I imagine it,
Yeah.
as a mixed version of Pimp My
Well, I
Ride.
was actually, when Vaughn had asked for video concepts for the Chelsea Vaughn team reveal, that was my first concept, but Chelsea was uncomfortable with everyone
Right.
knowing about his champagne.
And shrimp.
Yeah.
deal. Champagne and white wine.
Yeah.
Yep. Did they go anything like that or no?
Exactly like that.
Yeah, I
Pretty
thought
close.
so.
Cool.
So,
I actually don't eat shrimp though, so it was a
Lobster
I don't know
tail.
what other-
You just
that's
throw
right.
him.
It
you
was
just throw
lobster
him at
tail.
the strippers.
so compared to driving the BMW, how does the Mustang feel?
The Mustang, well, first off, the Mustang has run at every event and hasn't let me hang.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest difference. The motor is insanely responsive. Makes about the same power as my car did, but
Instantly.
it definitely makes it everywhere. It
Right.
feels like two electric motors attached to the back. Like, it feels like the gas pedal is directly connected to wheel speed. Like, it's crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And it's super nimble. It reacts really quickly, even though it's quite a bit heavier than my car was and quite a bit bigger. They've done such a good job of setting that chassis up that it's just like it goes exactly where you want it. And we've been messing around with the setup a little bit to have it fit my driving style because Vaughn and I have a little bit different of a driving style,
Right.
but it's still like definitely hands down like it's a winning car for sure.
Yeah.
It looks like the rear suspensions is very loose though. Like it squats way too much and bounces up and then squats again.
Well, I'd say too much.
I wouldn't say loose and too much.
Yeah, it's
I
not too
think there's
much.
a strategy behind that.
That is the strategy from what I know from the.
Let the man answer.
Oh well, you were
But
saying wrong
you almost
things.
insulted it.
You were
no,
saying.
I'm saying like this is how it looks.
All right, Chelsea,
I
do you
wanna
want to take
get-
this
Yeah,
one?
I think you
please.
understand that.
So yeah, I mean, the guys over there have a concept and an idea of what they think works, and I mean, I have driven it. I can say it does. I mean, really, if you think about it, all we're doing is driving like something like a sprint car around the
Right.
track, but we're doing left and right hand turns. So I don't think they're far off with that concept being the way to win. I mean,
Right.
I think there's a lot of different ways to do it,
Yep.
but I think they know how to set up that specific car to work really well, and I think that. Everywhere we've gone so far, we haven't really had a point where the car wasn't able to drive up on someone's door. So it's definitely a good setup. I don't have any beef with it. I've definitely been changing a few things here and there and giving Vaughn some of my ideas on what works. And,
Yep.
Some of those things have made both cars better. Some of them things have backed us up a little bit, but now we know where not to go,
And that was a line that struck me in Long Beach, like the first full team meeting at the event. Vaughn was talking to, because he kind of split up his team from last year, and a couple of the guys from his team that were fully on Vaughn's car last year are now doing Chelsea's car, and he's got some of his old guys on Vaughn's car. One of the things that struck me is that he's like, all right, we're teammates and we're sharing info, and we are going to benefit greatly from having two nearly identically set up cars. But just to be clear, the second we go up against each other, like, it's on, which I think that was pretty fun to hear.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have the Von Gittin set up. I mean, like, when we have him, we know what he doesn't have, so we put it in the car, and we're good.
Right.
Nice.
But we haven't battled or anything yet, just for fun and practice and stuff, so. But we definitely have that ready to go.
I'm glad that you have confirmed the Von Killer setup, because I had often alluded to it, like, in my head as like, they've got to have a setting. It's like, all right, we're going up against the teammate. Like, we know the weaknesses of this car. Like, how do we exploit that?
Yep. Yeah, we've got that, and I'm sure Von does too. And I hope that when we do battle it, I'm sure we got no excuses but to be like
it's gonna be
absolutely like 21 more times.
Yeah.
We have the same car
Until you stuff it right into them. Total both cars.
Well, do you know what I hope? I hope like when they do go against each other in like top 16 or top 8 or whatever, and Von's like, all right, I'm putting on the killer setup. And he goes out there and he tunes up his car and tells us like, all right, I'm putting on my killer setup, and he pulls up in the BMW.
Oh. That'd be awesome.
the Roush Yates motor in the BMW.
All right, but bring out the old girl. We're ready for a ride.
Some like real like Tokyo Drift thing, like throw the one motor into the other car and really throw it at all the stops. Are you?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I mean, I think one of the talks about those two cars is that insane 3-wheel action.
Yeah.
How you like it? Like, do you when the car goes 3-wheeling, do you feel like there's just one tire doing contact, or I mean, what's your thought on that? Like,
I mean, so I don't really use the steering wheel very much.
oh,
So it doesn't really matter. I mean, my BMW used to 3-wheel a lot, but just it would only hover like an inch off the ground. Obviously, this car gets pretty silly with that.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you don't really notice it, to be honest with you. Like, the only time you ever really notice it is when it's like really high off the ground, like 6 or 8 inches. But even then, like you're charging so hard that it doesn't really affect anything.
Yeah. I feel like whenever anyone asks, they're always asking like, why is the front end of the car doing this? But it's not really about the front end; it's about the rear end and having that traction and having that slip angle.
Yeah.
But slip angle is that
Yeah,
the right thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different setup than what everyone's got. But you know what I mean? Like, if you have a wheel off the ground, it's obviously transferring weight to the back of the car.
Yeah.
So, but it's obviously making more grip.
Yep.
It also seemed like the way you guys, like the RTR engineers calculated the Ackerman and all that. When it's pulling the 3-wheel, the wheel that is touching the ground, it's like 100% contact. Like in the photos that I've seen, it doesn't look like there's any more camber. It's just like the wheel looks perfectly perpendicular to the ground. So it's like at 100% traction. It's just like maximum control out of that tire.
Yeah, and that's very similar to sprint car setup. You go sprint car races, and it's the exact same thing.
So it is.
Yeah, I mean, the
car.
Ackerman really doesn't matter when the other wheel's not on the ground.
Right.
Well, sorry. I mean, I guess I was trying to think of the not
the contact patch.
I mean, I guess I was thinking of
How much rubber was touching the ground?
Camber. I throw the wrong,
you're probably
wrong term.
thinking more
Paco's gonna be my mechanic this year, so please
he's head
don't
tech.
touch him.
I'm trying
He's head
to
technician.
steal as much information out of you guys and Corey's car properly.
And in between shooting our team stuff, I'm going to be spotting for Corey.
Yep.
So I'm just going to be running around and setting up GoPros on
I
Von's
think
car.
you should do Driftcast spotting.
So Paco's gonna be like, is the caster camber thingy thing on the front
I
left?
adjusted your Castro.
Yeah, you
Castro.
adjusted my Jonathan
Positive.
Castro, and then took some out of the Chelsea Denofa in the back.
Yeah, and then I'm going to be
Right.
I'm going to be editing videos or whatever, and I'll be looking at the track. And Corey's like, "How's my run?" I'm like, "You did real good, kid. Just
It just looked like Vaughn's. I watched it 10 times.
just keep pushing."
Yeah, just press the Osbo pedal a little bit more there.
Which one is that, the gas or the brake?
It's the round one in the middle.
I thought he had a foot-shaped pedal. Like,
That sounds very Chelsea.
That's very VW style.
well, Chelsea has his. Why don't you tell us about your steering wheel?
Yeah, I mean, I run a aluminum sprint car style steering wheel. It's one of those things where no matter what happens, that wheel will survive it, and you can feel every little nut and bolt all the way down to the wheel.
Nice.
Yeah, and so there actually is a tactical purpose behind that. You actually like feeling
is.
everything. Interesting, and
There is.
I feel like even though you're wearing gloves, that's got to get hot as shit, like in Atlanta and places where there's like direct awful sun on the cars.
It doesn't really get that hot. I've never
Yeah.
had any problems with it.
Fair enough.
But again, I don't really
Idiot,
touch the
Sam,
steering
you
wheel.
idiot.
You don't touch the steering wheel. Yeah, you're just. I see him. He just actually reclines. He dumps the seat back and puts his hands behind his head and just chills.
Just
and,
goes rides it.
Yep.
Goes rides that whip.
So here's a question: have you ever drove Vaughn's Mustang? Have you guys ever like seat swapped?
Yeah, we've seat swapped a few times.
And any different?
Well, our setups are definitely a little bit different. I mean, obviously, like our seating position's way different.
Yeah,
and-
Chelsea sits so low, it's ridiculous. I try to put helmet cam on him, and he literally sits like below the line of the dashboard.
Yeah, and like I run a couple different things. You know, my front end is a little bit different than his, and it's not hugely different. But yeah, we do jump back and forth whenever we're doing testing and try to, see what car has more grip, or if we're trying to adjust brakes or something. He'll jump in one, and we'll be able to A/B test really quickly.
Now, don't you think this is absolutely crazy that this is where the sport is going?
I don't think it's really that crazy. If you're competitive, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that is going to happen regardless. And I think that our sport, even though there's only 28 drivers at every event, it's 28 of the people who want to win.
Yeah, 28 good drivers.
Right, exactly. Like now, when you have top 16 or top 32, you're like, if you don't get that buy run, you're like, all right, well, who do I have? It's not like I hope I get these people.
Yeah,
it's like there's only a couple guys out there that aren't like absolutely going to kill everyone,
Well, that's the thing is you look at the evolution of the sport when you first got in, because your first event was in what year?
2012.
Well, your first drifting, if it doesn't have to be FD.
Oh, like 2007.
Yeah, so you look at 2007 Chelsea Denofa, probably going out there in a fairly stock car, to this evolution of where you guys are seat swapping to feel every difference, every change, R&D, engineers, development, three-wheel motion out of sprint cars. Like, that's a pretty radical growth.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge gain. I was talking about this the other day. I was like, yeah, we've gone from like 200 horsepower cars with 80 psi of tire pressure in our junkyard tires and cutting steering stops off of cars so we get a little bit more steering angle to 900 horsepower cars with 10 psi in the tires and trying to find every bit of rear grip possible and basically building a drag car that goes sideways around the track,
Yeah.
But it's all still the same fun, Like I go drive one of my E36s with 230 horsepower on 205s, and that thing's just as much fun to drive as the FD car.
No, that's the thing too. Is like
Different fun though.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Is you look at the people who criticize, oh, it's changing the culture of drifting. U.S. drifting is taking over. It's a drag race. It's this. It's that. What's your thoughts on that? Because you were traditionally a guy that seemed like he was super into JDM style drifting, and then you evolved in this U.S. drift car monster guy. How do you feel if it's affecting the sport internationally, and is it or is it not? And kind of just overall the thoughts of the evolution.
Yeah, I mean, I think the competitive drifting aspect is changing. I feel it's getting a little bit ridiculous, and I think it should be like toned down a little bit. But I don't really have an answer on how to do that. But then again, like if competitive drifting wants to escalate every year and just become this monster of ridiculousness, that's fine. Because everybody can still have a ton of fun doing whatever they want, like in a simple car that's well thought out, And I think that's the thing. Like, we're having a lot of fun. Vaughn and I go out and drive demos and stuff all the time, and I'm like, man, like, I've been doing this for almost 15 years, and I still had a ton of fun today. You know what I mean? Like, that's the point of all of it. Like, there's going to be people that are competitive, and that's what Formula D and King of Nations and, D1 and all these series are all about. And it gives us a platform to build ourselves on. But really all we're doing is the same thing that these kids are doing, driving at fun events, like sliding around.
And that's the other thing, too, is you can look at it as like, hey, if you want to play with the big dogs, you got to pay up to play with the big dogs.
Right.
And if you do want to keep running your local drift event and do, slow and go out there and drift, no offense, continuously keep doing that, but this is the pinnacle and premier.
Which we've always tried to advocate on the show is
right.
when the kids are like, I like grassroots, and the other one's like, I like pro. It's like, can't we have it all? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I think you can. That's the best part of it. Is
Yeah.
like, you know, like I go drive local events all the time, like in my beater cars, and I'll just go out and thrash with people, and they're like, "How come you don't have like a turbo kit or something crazy on your car?" I'm like, because like I can come out here and drive with you guys all day, have fun, and have low cost operation where that's just like I can go thrash and put a smile on my face.
Well,
you know,
yeah, and you did just say something that has been a topic quite a bit, and that was, you wish it can tone down a little bit the pro side. At what moment did you realize, like, man, this is getting pretty freaking wild?
I mean, I got a Formula D license in like 2008, and at that point I was still like, man, this is pretty wild.
Right.
I've always been like, I want to go fast, I want to drive crazy, I want to be dangerous, and I love sketchy shit, but like, it's getting to the point now where it's like, everyone's blowing their car up, everyone's having car problems, and it's kind of like, well, how do we stop that from happening? How do we make the sport as a whole more reliable?
Because it could affect the show.
It could affect the show. And often does.
Yeah, I think it often does, So, I mean, I like the open engines and the open everything, like build the craziest shit you want. But there really is, like, it's starting to get pretty insane.
Right.
Where it's really just very expensive and very critical on every part, that guys are rebuilding transmissions and rear ends every round and putting, motors in between rounds and swapping them back and forth.
Multiple times
like,
during the round,
like,
even. Not even between rounds, but actually at the event, swapping multiple motors.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like, man, if we all maybe we're limited to a certain weight and a certain tire class like Pro 2 is or something.
That was my next question.
Well,
maybe this would be a more reliable sport.
And that's what I kind of wanted to roll in with, too, is, you look at every other premier form of motorsports, if it's Formula One, NASCAR, MotoGP, it's like they all have very specific rules. You look at Formula One back in the day where, it was pretty wide open. Then they're like, we can't keep operating like this. And there was a rule where it's like, hey, the amount of fuel that you run in qualifying, you have to start with and this. And then you have to run this specific tire, which slows the cars down and makes it more competitive. Like, they did insert rules to make it more competitive, but also to make it more affordable, because there was teams at one point in Formula One, they still made to this year, but maybe on a different level, that they were spending $600 million for a season. And I think everybody was running into budget issues with that, and then that's when they started doing engine rules, fuel rules, tire rules, to hopefully reduce the cost. And I think it's okay if Formula Drift goes that way. You see every other form of motorsports already kind of take that leap, and you even look at NASCAR now. They have the freaking chassis monitoring tool, the claw that comes down and measures the chassis to make sure they're all the freaking same.
Which a bunch of people got in trouble for being off the size of a width of a dollar. Not width, but the height of a dollar.
Yeah,
like,
millimeters.
Yeah.
And then you have Goodyear issuing teams tires that they have this allotment of tires they can only use.
Right.
And everybody's on the same one.
Which tire sponsors are big in FD, so I don't think you could do one tire very easily.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Like, I hear you on
But
all
you could
that.
do sizes. You could do sizes with different manufacturer support.
Right.
You absolutely could do that.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that it doesn't. I don't want to see it go to those extremes where there's like a spec drifting class. Like, I think if there was a spec drifting class, I would be definitely into that, but not for like Formula Drift. I think Formula Drift still needs to be open, and maybe, I would just like to see it maybe not everyone need 900 horsepower to, do well.
Well, so then that's the thing then is there might be opportunities there where you could kind of reduce the amount of consumables required to run if it is tires or fuel or I don't know. I just really feel that there is a way to make it affordable. And is the cost, that's the other thing, is the cost affecting why there's only 26 guys showing up, 28 guys showing up? What is it? And if it was more affordable, would you have more guys? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that 100%. I don't think it's super affordable still. I do think that, there are people out there that can run a Formula D season at a decent price, but I just don't think it's at a point right now where it's where it's totally affordable for someone who doesn't have it all put together yet. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well,
like,
okay, yeah.
you can't really learn putting it together and like lose money doing it. You have to be able to be smart enough to be able to optimize your program to be able to bring in enough money to drive Formula D.
Well,
do you know what I'm saying?
Well, let's use this for an example. Let's put Chelsea Denofa 2012 against Chelsea Denofa 2017. Program and budget-wise, how are they going to perform against each other? And what's the only separating factor? The only separating factor is the budget in the car. So why would I enter FD with a Chelsea Denofa 2012 budget going against Chelsea Denofa 2017? And it's like, looking at it, it's like, man, well, is that fair? Well, yeah, I give Chelsea 2017 credit because he busted his balls to get to Chelsea Denofa 2017. You know, he had to go through 5 years of spending his own dollar and hustling to get to this point. So you almost want to say, like, part of me is like, just go through the paces, and if you do well, you'll get to the point where you're at now, you know? And then there's times where it's like, does anybody have a chance coming in now as a new guy unless they have tons of freaking money?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to discourage anyone, but I don't think it's even possible to run Formula D for less than like $80,000 now. And I think 80,000 is like you really scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you already had a car that was already competitive and did really well, you might be able to do it for less. But it's just crazy amount of money now to run Formula D. But that's again like
That's
if
the
you
big dogs.
drive well and you do well in your Pro-Am series, and you get a little bit of help to go drive Pro 2, you know, you can run Pro 2 on like, you know, a fifth of the budget you can drive Formula D with.
Right.
You know, and then you run Pro 2 and maybe you do well and win Pro 2 and then you get some budget to help you for Pro 1, you know. But I think that there's just not enough people out there that are willing to sacrifice everything they have to try to do it.
And that's I totally agree with that. And the reason I say that is it separates a lot of people. And you can go back to Formula D 2012 where we had 70 people in Long Beach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just going to run Long Beach because I'm in California, and then you never see them again, but that it does affect the show and affect everything else. It's a way to weed the people out that are like willing to sacrifice everything, like yourself, to continuously keep running, which part of me saying that is fair. It's okay where the sport of drifting is at because it separates a lot of the people rather than just trying to go in nickel and diamond, affect the sport, and then you have a filler of, you know, different skill sets in cars and things like that. But I'm flip-flop both ways, man, because I do want the door to be open and make it more reliable and not have so many buy runs and trying to figure out where that issue is actually coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100% on that. It is. It's like, I know how hard I worked, and I know, like, people, and I know that there's very few people that are going to work that hard.
Oh,
and I'm not just trying to, like, pump myself up. I don't even know why I worked that hard for so long.
No.
You know, like, I was literally pulling my hair out. Like, I worked, like, 3,600 hours last year to make negative money. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and that just doesn't make sense to most people, you know? It's like, I totally agree with that. But then again, like, if you keep at something, you're going to figure out how to make it work. You're going to keep trying new things. And, you know, I think that's what it's all about. I think there's also a lot of people in Formula D that just have the budget to do it regardless.
Right.
You know?
True.
Which is great. That's racing, you know?
Yep. I agree with that.
It is what it is. I'm not hating on those people at all, but it makes it easier for sure.
Yep.
So let's talk specifics, though, because I know you said you didn't really have an idea of how to fix this dilemma. But so what tire size and weight are you running right now?
So our car is a little over 3,100 pounds, and I'm on a 295 4018.
Okay. So what happens to the sport if everyone has to run 275 in Pro 1?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you said, hey, everyone has to drive on a tire that's 270 millimeters in width, and I think that everyone's car has to weigh 3,000 pounds, you know, I don't think that that's a bad way to go about it. I think you could also say that, like, hey, every tire company can only supply 40 tires to each team. You know, so that way you have to weigh out your odds with practice and limit the amount of runs you do and things like that. Or, you know, have less power and conserve. You know, I think there could be more of a game there.
Yeah.
I think also Formula D could say, hey, in 2019, everybody needs to be on a 300 treadwear or higher tire, and it has to test different durometers, like different temperatures, and if it's under, you're out. So,
Right.
everybody, all the tire companies have some time to put together a tire or use one that they already have, and then go from there. So that way, everybody maybe could get 3 or 4 laps out of a set of tires, and
Yeah.
maybe you wouldn't need 1,000 horsepower to spin your tires.
So I agree with the weight in the tire size, because that would, of course, restrict the amount of horsepower people are going to throw in the car, because you're not going to be able to have enough tire by the end of the event. Or the event end of the round, I should say. But I'm not so sure about the having like 40 tires for the round. I like the idea of limiting practice in that way, but let's say you just get screwed and you have like a one more time for every battle. Then the show will suck if the guy that's going to the finals has no more tires left.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just an idea. I do agree. I mean, there's
you're throwing
definitely...
it out there.
Yeah, I mean, you can also deal it in where it's every one more time allows 2 more tires.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense then.
Yep.
You just have to make sure you
I mean,
don't overdo it in practice, and that's definitely one of the things that the drivers that have bigger budget and bigger allotment and bigger teams can afford to do, which is run practice unlimited. And I'm sure that there's some guys that stop during practice because they're like, oh, we only get so many tires this weekend. We shouldn't keep burning them in practice.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. And that's like what I did last year because we knew we were going to blow a motor every 14 laps.
Yeah.
So, I would do 2 laps of practice and then do my first qualifying lap. And if I had higher than an 88 my first qualifying lap, I wouldn't go out for my second one.
I do remember seeing that, and I was wondering why I saw that a couple times, but I guess that makes sense. Don't want to burn the car up before the competition if possible.
Yeah, I mean, we won Long Beach, and we only did 14 laps total, including all the battles.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was crazy.
So you mentioned doing tire testing and like 300 treadwear, and I don't remember if it was you that was saying it or me overhearing someone else, but just talking about tires and controversy and shit in FD about, I hate to use the word cheater tires, but what is your take on tire compound in FD today?
I mean, I know Formula D has to test their tires and allow the tires into the series. There's obviously a million ways to make a tire. So, I mean, a lot of the manufacturers have found ways to, make it say it's 140 or 200 treadwear, but obviously it's a lot softer and a lot stickier of a compound.
Are they doing this on the DOT level? Like they're doing this for the tire in general to the public, or are you saying that someone is fudging and making special tires for FD essentially?
I mean, I don't think that that's really the case, but I do think that DOT has a broad range of what you can put on a tire. And as long as it fits those characteristics, you can put between a 140 and 300 treadwear on there.
Because if I remember reading correctly, the DOT number is chosen by the manufacturer, right? Like they can they can really screw around there and say that it's a 200 treadwear tire when in fact it's more of like an 80.
Right, and then what constitutes 200 treadwear when the tire is 90 degrees may not constitute at 180 degrees or something, Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely vast differences between the tires that are ran in Formula D. But then again, that's all in the construction and everyone has the same stuff available to them. So, it's kind of hard to really limit that.
So how would you, as I say, I know it's of course hard, but how would you try to limit that? Just more thorough FD testing of tires to show that this is a legal compound, at least within what they then will define as the legal compound?
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe Formula D should have durometer testing or whatever throughout the weekend and come up with what's good and what's not acceptable kind of deal. And then, following year kind of push that harder, saying hey, if your tires come off track and they test differently than this, that's not acceptable kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I got a question for you, Chelsea. If you were running a 300 treadwear tire and it keeps falling off, would you glue them on? What?
Dude. I mean, they could limit tire pressure too.
Yeah.
Well, hey, so what? So what was the story behind the glue? Did you obviously you're running a super load tire and they just kept falling off?
So,
and is there anything in the rules that you obviously you were looking at the rule book and said, "Oh, well, this is not something it's not a bead lock." Like, what was the story behind that?
The story behind the rule book is it said no devices attaching the tire to the wheel.
Right, makes sense.
And that's a substance, a glue, not a device.
Device
Device has like a fastener and things like that. So I had been gluing tires for like 3 years.
And other teams, I imagine you will say we're doing that as well. Would you think?
There were other teams doing it as well, but our whole deal was like, hey, we're debeating tires every like 8 laps. It's like we can't really chance it. For us, it didn't really matter what tire pressure we were running. We were having debeating problems no matter what kind of deal.
Like at New Jersey, when you popped the tire off and kept on going. I think you popped 2 tires off in New Jersey that one year.
Yeah, that was from me hitting the wall, though.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Let's graded it up.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was like, hey, let's just glue every tire. Like, from Friday and Saturday, like Thursday practice, if we DB'd, it's whatever, but Friday and Saturday, we're going to glue tires every single time. So we kind of got into the deal of gluing tires and, sealing them on there so they couldn't come off. Obviously I got popped in Orlando last year with that. And they, pulled me off of the grid in top 32 in front of everyone to kind of make a stink about it.
But I like what you said. It's a substance, not a device.
And
in the rule book, it clearly states a device, which would be a
bead lock,
or I don't know what it would be, any other mechanical device that would support the tire from debeating.
And that's what every team and every racing does.
That's it. Is everybody in the world that's in motorsports looks for ways around the rule book. That is how you get the advantage over everybody else.
Yeah.
You're not breaking the rules because it's not in there yet. You're just twisting the rules enough where it's like, no, well, it's not very specific.
Well, it's been done.
It's not broken down.
It's been done on F1 for 40,
it's everything.
60, 80 years.
And I imagine that Chelsea, I can't speak for you, of course, but I imagine you probably knew that they wouldn't be pleased with this action you were taking, but still, it was not necessarily, at least in your eyes, something that was completely detrimental to the rule book or breaking.
Yeah, I mean, I figured, hey, they're going to tell us that we can't do this anymore, and we're going to have to stop.
Yeah.
So whenever they tell us, we'll stop.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's a great point, dude.
They were like, fuck you.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I said it on the show before. Like, I don't think that is considered like what is the main performance advantage that this is giving,
Run lower
well,
pressure.
it is run less pressure equals more grip.
Yeah, but let's imagine the tire.
There is a line. You're right. Yes.
Yeah, but let's imagine somebody makes a tire whose tire wall is stiff enough where it doesn't pop even at 0 psi.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's necessarily. Even Mike Kojima addressed it. He said that he thought it was a very nice
it's a safety feature. Correct.
Considering that, like another series, loosened tires and wheels have already caused damage to spectators and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is like, what is the advantage? Well, the advantage is you have a field of drivers that are not using it, which they can't go to that certain pressure because they will lose tires. So that would be the advantage in this case. But yes, there could be other tire manufacturers that can make a stiff enough sidewall where you can literally have nothing,
or wheel manufacturer,
or a wheel that has like a little
a more aggressive lip inside.
Exactly.
Sure,
like Mad Moik.
Hey.
Well, those
but
were
that
fake
would
bead locks.
But that would clearly be mechanical, not a substance.
Right.
So,
but of course, the wheel manufacturers or tired people may choose to push that line and make the wheel look completely normal, but maybe it has a little extra bonus.
Yeah,
lip,
do you know what? There's guys who drive on the street where that inner lip where the bead locks, it may just be another couple millimeters taller.
Where do you define?
Yeah, where do you define that's a mechanical?
That is not a device. It's the wheel manufacturer just making a wheel.
But that's up to the judges then, because that is a device.
No. That's a wheel. That's not
It's a wheel.
It's not an additional device.
It's not an additional device. That would be the sign of the wheel.
But therefore, you have to define what a device is, and that could be a device that's an aspect of the wheel. Again, this is all flexibility.
Well, that's the thing is
judges.
so let's go back to the whole glue thing. Yeah, anything could be looked at as a device if it's analyzed enough to be considered that.
That goes back to angle kits and any kind of
which is why it's the judge's job to try to lock up the rule book so tight
so that's the
it doesn't
thing.
allow.
Well, the thing is like so my thing was when the tech guy pulled me aside off the track. Well, not even aside, in front of everyone. I was like, well, I guess you can tell everyone here that they all have to go home because everyone's disqualified. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, because everyone uses lube to mount their tires. So that's a substance the same as my glue. So I don't know what you're talking about. So now in the rule book it says nothing can be between the wheel and tire, and nothing can bead the tire besides air.
What about the mounting
So wait,
agent?
when they they're not dudes like soaping up the wheels when they put the tire on anymore?
I mean, I'm sure people still do that, but that would be considered illegal as well because now that would be a substance. What happens when that soap actually turns to something that's sticky?
Right.
Yeah, I'll see. Maybe. What if the soap had like some mix,
Some
on
sort
it?
of adhesive in it.
So
Right.
talking back on tire pressures, it looked like in Atlanta when you were doing your rain setup, you were running like about 0 psi in your rear tires. Like the rain setup, I remember just looking over your tires, like I don't think there's air in those.
Well, there was a video of him doing a donut, and you just see the tire just completely flex and roll underneath the wheel, and I was like, whoa.
like a dragster,
Yeah.
like Top Fuel.
Yeah, we were just trying some different things and seeing what would work. Unfortunately, that didn't work. It wasn't any faster that way.
Yeah, I mean, in the rain, you got to try weird stuff, I imagine, to try to find that little bit of advantage to try to keep going against dudes like Jimmy Dean Dong that has been racing in the rain for his entire
Who's
life.
Jimmy Ding Dong's fierce competitor? Sam?
Who is it?
I don't know. Who. Do you know who he is?
I would say vegan sausage.
I would say that or Harry Berry.
Harry Berry is out there.
He's a bastard.
You had to bring your spotter. Huh?
Yeah.
He's my spotter this year.
Or Byron.
Byron, Harry
Hey,
Berry.
Byron made it on top 4 last race.
Yep, Byron was
Yep.
there in top 4.
Top 4.
He's a tough adversary.
We should like literally bracket up points of where Byron would be.
Byron would be beating everyone's ass.
Yeah, because he has 5 runs in top 32, and then he advances the top 4.
Chelsea, what do you think? There's of course been talk about people saying, "Oh, we only have 28 drivers. Let's throw in the top 4 Pro 2 guys," and then others are saying, "Well, others being people like me, unfortunately. Sorry, that's me. I'm saying that I think that even though that maybe is a good idea for the show, but I think that the top 4 drivers don't want to go against some Pro 2 guys that may or may not be dialed in, and you may have incidents of bad follows or these guys that are so dialed." That are trying to do a close chase run, but then the lead driver falters in a very strange way and is uncontrollable. So do you think we should pull in the top 4 Pro 2 drivers?
I have an argument for that too, Sam.
Okay, but let's hear it, Chelsea. Should we pull in the top 4 Pro 2 drivers, or should we drop the bracket down to only 28 cars so that way there's no buy runs? What's your solution, or just keep it as it is?
Yeah, I mean, I would be all for the Pro 2 guys getting a chance, but I think it's going to totally wreck our points chase because it would be 4 random people each time.
Yeah.
So I guess I wouldn't mind either way. A top 32 is great. The buy runs kind of suck, but you know what? It really does push for people to qualify hard. You know,
That's the truth.
So like when you go out there and you push to get that top 4 qualifying spot, like you made top 16 off of getting those spots. So I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing. I think they should just ditch all top 32 altogether and just do top 16 right off the rip.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I mean, because if you think about it, look at all these drivers who are actually on Pro but haven't been able to make it. Like, let's say Farouk. What was this other driver we were talking about that made it on Atlanta?
Taylor Hall.
Taylor Hall.
The guy that Chelsea won against?
Yeah. I mean, like, for example, that would be the equivalent of just like a random driver that suddenly or finally showed up, you know? So...
Yeah, I'm not mad at the
You
buy
know?
runs. I just know that it is something that's talked about that people are like, oh, we just have a bunch of 5 boring ass battles in top 32 because at least one car will probably have a mechanical, and then the other 4 are proper buy runs. So it's just like,
yeah, but then again, like you saw those 4 people put the best qualifying runs down.
yeah. So it's cool in that regard, but as far as seeing hot tandem action in top 32, it does kind of
takes away from the show.
Yeah, it just feels a little bit weird. I don't know. I'm not sure it needs a solution necessarily, but how would you feel if there was just 28 in the bracket rather than 32?
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely do that as well. I mean, I think they should just go straight to 16.
Oh,
Really?
So cut out every driver with the top 16 and just do a top 16 battle, call it a day?
Yeah, I think they should do a top 16 tandem practice in place of top 32.
wow.
So just people lining up randomly and whoever looks badass? Or are you saying just practice just for 16 and it's a fun practice session?
He's not getting rid of qualifying.
Yeah, just like a fun practice session.
I don't know. How do you feel the pressure is different from qualifying, once again, 2013, 2014, when there's 60 cars, versus knowing if you just lay a run down, you qualify?
Corey's asking for a friend.
I'm asking for somebody I know I met on the internet.
I mean, I liked
Like,
when there were
dude.
70 cars, but I mean, really,
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
Corey's bitter.
No, I'm not bitter. It's just so interesting because there's.
I would be bitter if I was you because
There's
Corey had to
two-
go up against 70 cars, and now if he just showed up to Pro 1, he'd be in the show.
That's literally what it is. And now it's like going back to top 16. It's like, dude, all these guys. Because here's the thing: is even the guy that's in 32nd or even 40th, he's still putting in as much work to show up to the track as the guy in first.
Yeah.
He's still traveling. He's still paying out of his pocket. He's still doing everything he can to make the show.
As long as he
And
doesn't
if-
break drift during the run, he's going to make it into top 32.
Right. And so it's like, fuck, man. Like, once again, I was there. We were all there at one
Yeah.
point where it's like, I just busted my balls to get here, and I had a mild bobble on the bank, and I didn't. Back in the day, it was speed judged. I couldn't hit Vaughn or Chris's speed, and it was still super high, and it was an average, but it was like, fuck, I'm still doing 45 through here when I should be doing 47, so I'm out 10 speed points right out of the way. And so it's like, I just did everything to get here, and I had one small ding, and I qualified 33rd more than everybody, so I had to pack my fucking bags
Corey's
up.
not mad. Corey's
I'm not mad. It's just like, I just...
you're
I,
so mad.
no, I feel for
so
people
mad.
because I know that like all the time and effort and everything that goes into this, it's like,
yeah.
dude, give these boys a shot.
Yeah, but everybody's doing that, and you got rolled because you didn't have enough fucking speed. Like,
You got to be blowing
sucks.
motors like Denofa.
but it's like that's how it is.
And then that's the other thing I have to realize is
but
like
now
there's two
it's like,
sides to it, and
oh.
then it's like you go out there, I have an opportunity to really put up. I'm guaranteed to make the show. You're guaranteed to make the show. Why don't they just make a 30 car field and not have any more, any less?
Right.
There's so
Yeah,
many
no,
ways. There's so many ways to do this. Like, I'd rather have a decked out 32 car field that they're going every single round. They're committed. It's 32 cars. You're guaranteed to see.
So you're saying just seated? Like
Yeah,
your
just
qualifying's
seated.
based on. Your
No, you'll
qualifying
still have
based on
32 car. You'll still have 32 cars. You still have to qualify each round. But it's like monster trucks, for example. Monster trucks has.
Right.
It's a
Badass.
It's a touring show, man. They're all guaranteed to be there.
The big
You're
trucks.
guaranteed to see Gravedigger and
Gravedigger,
Bigfoot and
Bigfoot.
Hairy
Hairy
Toes
Toes.
and Godzilla feet.
Godzilla feet.
And they're going to be there every single time. And so
Every
you still
time.
have an opportunity to see your favorite driver qualify, compete, and see where he goes. It's like a lot of these other forms of motorsports, man, where it's like you're going to see your guy go no matter what. And it's easier to sell that way as a driver.
I mean, I think you got that now. If you look at the roster of who's in Formula D right now, you're going to see all of them.
Yeah.
And there might be one or two wild cards.
Well,
because
well,
maybe those one or two people didn't drive Long Beach.
Well, that's right, because that's what I'm saying is the times have changed. So it's like, you want to go to a 16 car field or want to do these other things. Like, man, you have some of these other guys, like let's say Ken Gucci or someone may have a bad qualifying run and didn't squeak in because he qualified 17th.
All this comes
now
down-
everybody's not
Yeah.
going to see Ken Gucci or Chelsea Denofa. Oh, he straightened up going up the hill in Atlanta just a little bit, or he used too much e-brake. He's
Or he hit-
17.
or he knocked over
now
a cone.
Chelsea Denofa fans won't be able to see Chelsea Denofa run. How's that fucking fair to the fans?
Or we knocked over a cone. So, Corey, what you're really saying is that you wish you would have played World of Warcraft a little more professionally for like 3 years and then got into
I
drifting?
probably would have made more money twitching.
I was going to say, and then you get into drifting 3 years later, and then now you're going into Pro 1 in your prime
Oh yeah, for sure.
because you're not in your prime. Chelsea, is Corey going to make Pro 2 top 16 in Seattle?
I mean, if his car's running well and he goes out and does well, I think he'll be all right.
Should we just say if his car's running, period?
Thanks, Chelsea. I appreciate that. No,
I mean, like,
go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, it's the same thing. It's like everyone there has to drive the same track in the same conditions. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And in Pro 2, everyone has to drive on a 260 tire pretty much.
Yeah.
So, like, if you don't qualify, but your car ran well, then you obviously messed up 2 runs in a row that couldn't be good enough. You know what I mean? Like, if you just had one qualifying lap and you messed up, I could say, damn, this sucks. You missed the show because you made one mistake. But you have 2 qualifying laps, so if you mess up twice in a row, like maybe you shouldn't be in top 16.
Right. So here's the other thing too: is you look at the evolution of drifting as a sport, and it's not a form of racing. Drifting is entertainment.
Fuck you, Corey. It's racing.
To some degree, it is. It's not a green flag to checkered flag, right? It's not.
Kind of is.
It's not.
No,
though.
but
It's not.
racing is not like trying to be first in front of the other
If you're not
cars.
first, you're last, dude.
Oh, quote Ricky Boney.
Shake 'em big.
No, but that's the thing is like I think the sport it's not a green flag, checkered flag race. It's purely the excitement of what you're doing. It's entertainment, and I think by developing the show, making it a better show, and seeing the drivers that you want to see compete.
So you want to see
only,
like monster trucks, like you said.
that's what it is. To
Pretty
some
much.
degree, that is
Yeah.
what it is.
So it is
And
an-
that's
it is
you
an
ask anybody in drifting, and it's like, oh, it's like figure skating but on asphalt. You know,
Yeah.
it's a judged sport that people want to. And monster trucks a judge too. And monster trucks put on a great show, and they sell out stadiums. Monster trucks you'll see at Bank One Ballpark, you'll see them at stadiums across the world. They're making tons of freaking money because it is.
How do you judge Robosaurus, though?
You don't. Robosaurus is well.
It's a
Here's the
halftime
thing: is
show.
Robosaurus draws a big audience to eat cars and blows fire. Like,
Yeah, but
and people will pay to see that.
let's say it's Bigfoot versus Gravedigger versus Robosaurus.
It depends on how high they can jump.
I mean, that gets
I mean,
complicated.
so I agree with you guys with the Monster Jam thing.
Like that's the
I
thing
think
is
that
if
is a great way to take drifting to a more mainstream level.
that's what the sport needs,
I don't
man.
think that that's the way to do it as far as like competition.
No,
wise.
and that's the thing is I'm just thinking of ways of doing that because here's
Here-
the thing
yeah,
is
like
you want
here's
to
the thing. Like,
go ahead.
I'm gonna jump in real quick
Get it.
before we get off the Monster Jam thing. Sorry.
no, I want to hear it.
No, I just want to jump in. So, like, I think Monster Jam is a great thing because they have the freestyle stuff, and I think that's just how drifting is, and I think that's great.
Yep.
But I think there's no competitive aspect to it until you
Right.
get to the little timed circle track thing that they do,
Yeah.
where there's no fan interaction and it's just straight up times, so that people actually feel like there's some competitiveness there.
Mhm.
You know,
And they
So I
also have freestyle.
That's what it
that's what
says.
I'm saying. So the
Yeah.
freestyle, I agree. Like, while Formula D might be the timed style of that, where it's like very like strict and maybe has less drivers or whatever, but the freestyle aspect of it, I think is awesome. You know, I think that there could be some room there for Monster Jam style stuff as far as in the drift community with more freestyle stuff. You know.
It's kind of like what they've been trying to do, like try to do like backward entry competitions and drift games.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing is we have to find a way to evolve the sport consistently to give everybody an opportunity to make a living at this. Like we all want to make a living at this in some degree. And once again, I use Monster Jam for an example, is because those guys are making a living. They have cool branded trucks. They sell out stadiums. You have a young demographic, and you're not going to see young demographic like that in NASCAR. You're not going to see young demographic like that in Formula One. Those are the people who are selling seats. We're in a unique opportunity with drifting that we have the opportunity to touch young audiences. We have people.
Whoa.
Take that back, Sam. No, but you know what I mean. It's
touching nobody here.
it's you have your Formula Drift and drifting is in this unique position where it has the younger crowds.
Yep.
And that has the opportunity to sell stadiums, but you just have to fill it to have a 4-hour show or a 6-hour
So
show.
I like the idea of doing a stadium. So let's get rid of FD Orlando and put it in a stadium. So there's awesome seating and there's an awesome man-made track that we can make exactly as
I'd
we want.
love to see at least
I'm
one
not-
car
Air
in the
conditioning.
stadium.
And air conditioning,
Yeah.
but I'm not so sure about the monster truck format you're talking
Well,
about.
no.
I think if you want to get that, you go to Grid Life.
So here's the thing. It's not a monster truck format, Sam. I mean,
Okay.
don't get me wrong. We're not doing a
Okay.
freestyle. We're not doing a barrel jump. We're not doing. It is basically.
Those things sound awesome, by the
No,
way.
it's the thing is it's creating personalities for the drivers. It's creating cool cars for the drivers.
We don't have personalities in cool cars?
No, we do, but it's not
they-
sold correctly.
Yeah,
it is not
exactly.
sold correctly.
Yeah,
The drivers
they have to do it themselves.
The
It's not
drivers
like
are
Formula
pushing
Drift.
everything themselves.
All right, we got to go.
Portrays
We got to call Sage real quick. Bye, Chelsea.
You can tell me that I'm wrong, but
I
Chelsea
agree-
Denofa
I agree
is
with Corey.
where Chelsea Denofa is at because of Chelsea Denofa.
Exactly.
Because he likes to run hard into walls and shit.
Right. But
Well,
he
I mean,
had
he's the
Well,
one
I
who's
just want to say, if we had a contest that was Monster Jam, just like they have the wheelie contest, Vaughn and I would beat everyone.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, for sure.
There's no problem.
like I think the best competition so far would be jumping over Tyler McQuarrie. You
Yep.
you so
Yep.
far have
Yep,
the
won
best
that.
score.
Well, didn't somebody do that in Pro 2 at Orlando? Brody or something?
Yeah, we saw a
That
super
was
wheelie.
even better than mine.
He
I
got
think.
mounted the competition.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Dude, that was wild.
Yeah.
That was sick. Props to him. I think he beats my Tyler McQuarrie
But
shot.
let me just end my rant real quick. I want
Yep.
to end my rant. And because I do want to see this sport growing, and like when we talked to Forsberg, we talked about, obviously selling out stadiums is where drifting needs to be if everybody wants to make a living at this and sell out 20, 30,000 seats and have it in ballparks and things like that. And it's not the monster truck format. It's just the way the monster truck promotes and markets and sets up the tour and sells the drivers and sells what they're about ready to see. It's not Chelsea Denofa busting his balls to get Chelsea Denofa recognized. You know what I mean? Like all of us drivers are creating. Sam, you and I had to create content for ourselves to even be relevant in this sport.
Yeah.
Nobody else is doing that for us.
Because
Monster
we're not
Jam-
skilled drivers.
Well, it's not that. It's like, well, do you think all the monster truck drivers are skilled? No. It's they have the ability and the resources. They put together these resources to help make it a sellable product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like if they can do a better job.
Well, I mean-
Go ahead, Chelsea.
Let's not jump to conclusions and say Formula D isn't creating a product to sell. I
It's
think
different
they're doing
levels.
a
No.
fantastic job.
No, Chelsea, let's take that back because I'm not saying they're not. It's just two completely different levels.
Correct.
It's
Well,
two
no,
different levels.
Not even levels. It's styles of everything too.
No, but I agree with Corey just with the point that I think Formula Drift could do a little bit of a better job by selling, let's say, like upcoming next event, Formula Drift. We have Von Gidding and the Mustang.
Are you kidding me right now? Like that's actually literally what they do.
Yeah.
No,
But it doesn't. No.
Like-
It doesn't seem like that. It's a whole different way of
it's a different
advertising.
marketing
That's a
campaign. It
different
really
way of
is. It
selling
really is.
yeah.
It's a really different marketing campaign because Formula D does do it on a very small level. They will go to IndyCar races and do demos. They will do exhibitions at certain places and outside the country.
Yeah.
But I think it could be sold better. I think the product could be sold better. They do it at a smaller level.
How would you do it though? I'm not
How
disagreeing.
would
I'm
I
just
do it
saying
now?
how-
I would if they can get the budget. I would do more commercials. I would structure the show better so you're not having audiences be at the shows for 12 to 14 hours.
Well, that seems to be the budget is the thing in the first place because although they did say they liked our halftime show, they didn't have the budget for us to fly there.
And
essentially.
so it may absolutely be the budget, but once again, is if they had a different way or a different product or a larger product to sell, would it be easier to get that budget?
I don't know, man.
I don't know. It's just so many things to think about, dude. And you can call it crazy, you can call it whatever you want, but it's just like, once again, let's keep growing and progressing the sport of drifting so we all have an opportunity at being successful in this for a long time.
Chelsea, final thoughts on that before we go to Instagram questions?
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I think that there's still some teething as far as being able to build this into a product that can be sold to the masses. But I do still think it's growing extremely rapidly.
Yep.
We are still having some events that we are selling out 20,000 plus tickets at. And I think it's been pretty much sold out at every event this year so far as pre-purchase and, selling out the actual spots themselves. I do think that if they packed it into a smaller and more efficient package, it could be sold a little bit better.
Agreed.
But then again, it's going to be taking out top 32 or taking out certain things that are going to affect what some people think of it. So while I agree with most of what you guys are saying, I think that, it's one step at a time.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're looking way down the road. And that's the thing. Is
and it
always
might just be something stupid like inner clipping points with fireworks and outer zones with fire and stuff like that, like where it just looks fucking ignorant,
Where it looks ignorant.
No, I'm saying like.
No, I like this. I like this.
I believe that
I like the
that's what
slogan.
people want nowadays.
dude, it is.
Dude,
it's
if
crazy.
If we made rear clipping points or front clip points or whatever, where if you get like the old proximity sensors, like only they wouldn't mean anything for judging. It's just like if you get close to it, it just explodes.
Just imagine this. Just imagine this.
Oh, it's so
you
great.
go out and there's an outer zone at the track that's a touch and go, and it's a spot that's really hard to get to. But when you get there and you still make the rest of your run work, like that's extra points, or the judges are looking for that. Well, what if that spot was a dunk tank with Jared in it? So when you got that spot, you dunked Jared.
Yeah.
And if you complete a perfect run, you get just a bunch of reggae horns and Pump the
Yeah.
Jam comes on.
Right.
You got the Vuvuzela
Yeah, like-
section.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, you would have people on your feet. I'm getting excited thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm ready to
Yeah,
jump up.
or the one judge that says the total opposite of the other two judge gets a pie in the face or dunked
Yeah.
or whatever. You know, like that kind of stuff is what I think.
So you
like,
want to make it a carnival?
it's-
You don't want to
No,
go.
I just want it. I want it to be more exciting.
Yeah.
and I want it to
Dude.
be more of like the people can relate to it. Like,
Dude.
you know, so,
Yeah. So rather than being F1 direction, you want us to go into the direction of
We can't go in the F1 direction.
WWE.
we can't.
We can't go in the
Formula
F1
Drift
direction.
can't go
I'm
in
still-
the F1 direction.
I'm
It
still
can't.
hoping for the introduction.
Dude,
music.
intro theme song, sparks
Yeah,
come out. You come
that
out in your
has to go
driver's
back.
suit. You come out in your driver's suit. Car's there. Do a burnout. Pop
Yeah.
a wheelie. Fireworks come off. You shoot up bazooka cannon T-shirt into the crowd.
dude, I'm all for it.
Which, by the way, Brims, did they kind of like stop? Like, did they told you guys not to do more burnouts, more donuts after the introduction? It seems like now everybody just kind of like leaves very peacefully and
Because
just.
everyone's cars are so nuts, they're gonna break in
Yeah.
the burnout.
They're gonna because burnouts are hard as shit. Like
So-
I don't want to talk about I can't talk about the shit I was on last
Oh.
week, but we literally broke a car doing a burnout. So we had done like crazy technical shit, like doing tight stunts through ridiculous areas for days, and we did a burnout and exploded a clutch.
Oh.
So it's like burnouts are hard as shit on cars. Half the people don't want to have to change tires again before
Yeah.
they compete. So it's like, yeah, it's people are serious, and maybe that's a problem is that people are so damn serious.
Yeah.
It's all.
I miss that. I miss all the drivers
All right, well-
doing donuts.
Well,
I know.
Ryan,
There needs to be
Ryan's,
something that loosens it all up.
Ryan
Dude,
Sage
let's-
and Jim Law, if you're listening to this one, then Chelsea has some ideas for you.
Dude, we should have the Blue Angels fly over.
Blue Angels dropping bombs.
Let's talk to Jim Law next episode. How about that?
He should drop bombs.
Yeah, we
of-
should get Jim Lau next
Yeah.
episode. We
Let's-
are. I messaged him
Yeah,
the other
let's-
day, and he's ready.
So Blue Angels dropping a big fucking box of flashlights on the crowd.
Oh my
And
God.
one of them has like a $100 bill in it.
Yeah, but you can't find out until you.
Use it.
Until
Yeah.
you pop that cherry.
All right,
Oh, Pop.
Paco. All right, we're gonna cut that part out, hopefully. And
Sorry.
all right, so these are the questions on Instagram, Chelsea, that we did a post just before the show saying,
Which, by the
hey,
way,
today we're talking to Chelsea Denofa. What would you like to ask him?
by the way, 50% of the questions they're just asking about Mustang running into crowds. So sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry
We're
about
just
that.
gonna ignore all of those.
And we should also do one of the fans recommended actually via email. Sorry, we're not calling you out directly because I just thought of it off the top of my head. But let's get out of the way the questions that everyone always asks every time. All right, Chelsea, if this is one from Bobby Pringles, 74, and he said if you weren't driving a Mustang or BMW in Formula Drift, what would you be driving?
Ooh, probably a chaser.
Hell yeah!
Ooh, cool. Here's a question from Siegfried and Roystein. If you can drive another competitor's car in FD, which one would it be? And it can't be Vaughn's.
I'd probably drive Osbo's car.
The
Really?
the TC or the grocery
Yeah.
getter?
Well, the new car, the IA or IM or whatever.
Hey,
it
it's a
is.
Corolla, dude.
Dude, come on, dude. Tokyo Drift, dude.
Well,
Piece
my
of shit,
mom
right.
actually has that car. She has like the Lexus version of it.
You
the
drift that thing?
CT200 or whatever.
Yeah, you drift like crazy.
Oh, the
in that.
hybrid?
Do you know my favorite question still to this day on the show, Sam, was when you asked Osbo, so why is the TC such a good drift platform to start with?
Yep. He was pleased with that one.
Yeah, that was really good.
Hey, it's what I do.
All right.
And what's the? There's always one more. It's what motor would you have in your Mustang right now if you didn't have that motor?
Ooh. I'd probably put an electric motor in it.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm actually really
Do it.
curious to see. Is there anything? I know you're a rule book scrutinizer there, Chelsea. Is there anything that says you can't just do like a Tesla crazy ass electric motor?
There's actually a rule in place because I was trying to get Tesla involved.
And they just hate you, and they're like, "Nah, we don't want."
So there
anything
is
Tesla."
actually some rules in there that apply to help, like to push electric cars. So it's good.
So wait, what?
Interesting.
So can you expand on that a little bit? So what do you mean? What's the rule?
I think it just says some things about the cars can gas powered cars or no internal combustion cars
Yep.
can only have 2 batteries.
So that would be a big.
Well,
big
isn't that
move.
mostly because people were doing that for weight addition in strange places?
Yeah, but if there's an electric car, you're obviously going to have more than 2 batteries.
Yeah.
So they actually did
a,
it.
non, a non-combustion engine.
So FD is actively discouraging electric for the time being. I wonder why though, because
They're
I do want to.
They're not discouraging it.
No, they're not.
They're not.
Okay.
So what that means is, like, obviously with an electric car you can have, and that's why they wrote it in the rule book so specific
Yeah.
is because only combustion engines can have
Gotcha.
2 batteries.
Okay, I misunderstood
Electric
that.
cars can have 100 if they want.
So why can't you run a Tesla motor with instant torque and low center of gravity?
No, you can. That's the thing.
We'll do it, pussy.
yeah, dude, come on.
Next year.
I hope that it goes that direction. I think that electric drift cars would be cool.
And then you can get those speakers mounted on the outside so it can sound like anything you want.
Yeah, I would just like record Ryan Turk's car and hit play.
Yeah.
Make it
So
sound
you
like a
think is
Lamborghini.
angry?
Because that's obviously the fan favorite.
I'm going to
Yeah.
actually have Sam make audio of his mouth.
Yep.
What would my car sound like, Sam?
Corey's car would go.
It's
It's kind of like a
Jetsons.
Jetson slash. Yeah, Jetson slash. Just like.
We'll just put a
whoopee.
mic on you, Corey, and you can just.
You just hear, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
Yeah.
just scream around.
you just
All
hear,
right, guys, coming down the hill.
You hear mouth noises the whole time. All right, so then we got some more questions here.
questions.
Let's start off with Aaron Dookie, long-time listener, first-time listener. He says, "How awful is it to see Drift Idiot on a regular basis?"
That's true.
I know. I do see you a lot. I don't think you work because you're in the trailer, like acting like you're charging batteries all day.
In the air
Oh, that's a
conditioning.
good cover-up, Sam.
It is.
That's like somebody walking around the office just shuffling papers.
Yeah,
Oh no, I'm just got
these
paperwork.
GoPro batteries. Are
Paperwork.
charged.
but it's always at the water cooler to spit in the shit.
That's great. That's
All right,
good.
we have it's Curtis Bro saying, "What has been the toughest change to adapt to in the new chassis?"
I would say the motor is a little bit hard to adapt to because I'm used to like flooring it the whole lap and never letting off the gas. Whereas this motor makes so much power like pretty much instantly that you have to kind of roll into it a little bit. That's probably the hardest thing. And then obviously the car's a little bit heavier, so it does things a little bit differently than my BMW. But the hardest thing's just been like the gas pedal itself.
Yeah, and then follow-up question, kind of from Jamiroquai Lover 64. He says that it seems like you've kind of taken yourself out in most of the battles this year. Do you need to not push as hard?
So that is like the best feeling ever, to lose and have it be my fault. I haven't had that in so long because my car broke every round that like I always had like a great excuse. Oh, why'd you lose in top 8? Oh, my motor like dropped 7 cylinders out. Like you only have a 6-cylinder. Yeah, I know. Like, you know. So it's actually great to lose and have it be my fault because I can learn from that.
Now you can improve.
Yeah, and I think in Atlanta we had some pretty good runs, man. I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
obviously Turek beat us and we didn't quite have enough in the second half of the track, but I think that I think we're moving on to that point where I think we might get a podium this year. That's my goal.
Oh, dude, I
it.
can't wait.
Here's a question from Beat Farmer 89. What is your old BMW doing? Is it just parked out in the Oregon rain?
So it's actually at another Formula Drift driver's shop getting a motor right now.
Wow.
What motor?
I can't tell you guys
That
yet.
that was asked from Steven Spielberg 44.
Yeah. It's
Why can't
getting
you
a
tell
motor.
that? Why
It's
are you
gonna
being
get
all
back-
secretive about that?
Well, it's not really solidified yet, so we'll see.
It's a rotary.
Oh my God! All these.
I have a rotary. That would be cool.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I really wanted to put in it, though. I really wanted to put a K-Series motor, a Honda K-Series motor in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Do a little Frankenstein swap.
Oh, here we go. Hit us with the lingo, Sam.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to do like a K24 with like a 2.7 liter stroker kit and like a little turbo setup on it.
You sound like Papadakis
Yeah, so
right now.
Papadakis might be able to help you
Yeah,
with that.
right.
Well, my goal was to have the car be at like about 2,550 pounds with me in it. So that way, every time I wanted to do something with it, it was like cheaper to run and I didn't need a ton of power and things like that.
Yeah.
2550, you said?
Yeah, because that car was 2615 with
Right.
me in it with the LS motor.
And you're 650 of that, right?
Yeah.
He's been. I've seen his workout program. It's
So
mostly
the bulking.
He's been bulking up.
Yeah.
Has he been eating
Training with
baby carrots and Go-Gurt? And
Yeah, he
slamming hot
never
dogs?
he never works out, but he's just slamming protein shakes and Mexican steroids.
Oh, you're going to
Ooh.
Tijuana,
Yeah, but
huh?
he doesn't work out. He's just
Right.
slamming the protein.
He's been taking the Tijuana mama.
Yeah.
How about question once again from Aaron Dookie? Says,
Easy, Paco. Don't give that Dookie kid
Yeah,
too
come
much
on,
love.
dude.
It's a good question. Says, has Von Gittin Jr. pressured you into getting a signature move similar to his trademarked windmill? And follow-up questions. What are your thoughts on finger guns?
That's
He's pretty good at that. All right.
that would be cool.
Yeah.
That's a good answer
so-
too.
In top 32 at Long Beach, I did like a woo, like, you know how he always goes,
Ric
woo!
Flair.
Yeah.
I did that, and he kind of looked at me like,
No.
that's my thing, dog.
Dude, don't.
Oh, you got
And I
ripped.
did it kind of as a joke because I qualified like 24th because I had to drive the car, like missing a handbrake, basically.
Yeah, no,
And,
it wasn't basically. It actually didn't work, right?
And I was just happy to be in the show and whatever. But when they announced I did that, and he was like, looked over at me, and Jared was like, "Oh, you just like joined the team. Now you got to have the woo," you know? Like, and I was like, "Yep."
Just went for it.
Yeah, I don't have the hat spin down quite yet.
You don't want to throw out a shoulder.
I really wanted to do like a crowd surfing thing where we'd have like 8 fans who won something that could go out in top 16, and I'd jump off the roof and crowd surf.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
That'd be totally worth it. I don't
And
want to
then-
win something.
And then I would bribe all the fans like right before they're about to go out there. Like, here's $5. Don't catch them.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be solid.
All right. A East 88 says, why did you not do a burnout in the golf cart at Hyperfest? Because you just got back from Hyperfest, right?
Yeah, so the golf cart that we had was actually given to us by the guy who runs Hyperfest. So we had to kind of limit our craziness with that because it was like a nice gesture.
Yeah.
Oh.
But if it was a rental cart, you better believe we would have had a jack under that thing just enough to get it to start a burnout, and I would have smoked the tires so they blew up.
Are you planning on going to Grid Life at all? I know Vaughn's going to be out there for one of them at least.
Yeah, I think I'm going to the one in Michigan.
Hell yeah.
yeah.
I'll see you next week.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Or 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2
Yeah.
weeks. No, but I just want ahead of time. I want you to know that Saturday will be my birthday out there. I think. I mean, no pressure. Like I just want you to be aware.
You want to kiss on the forehead or what?
I mean, I won't be angry if that happens. All right, so well, let's see what.
I have one.
It's a good real quick. It's a good sign though that about if these questions aren't about Mustangs running to crowds, they're questions that we have already literally asked you. So
Yeah, I'm
we're getting
kinda-
it. We're getting it right here, I
Yeah.
guess.
We get it.
Saying
Says-
what the fans want.
Yeah. Question from Drift IS. Will the Mustang ever deliver pizzas with Hurt?
I don't even understand that.
You're so
there
out
was
of
a
the
video,
internet,
the Drift Pizza
Sam.
Boy. That was his video.
Yeah,
Oh,
Catch up on your social media, Sam.
I don't watch videos.
I don't think that one will, but we might be doing that with another Mustang.
With Hurt?
BG and I have been planning behind the scenes. We'll see if we can get something to stick.
All right, here's a question. Colt status. Vaughn has openly said that you were not the first choice to drive a second Mustang on his team.
Yep.
What do you believe gave you the edge, and what did you do to secure the seat? Second part, what is the biggest thing you've learned from seeing firsthand how Vaughn runs his team that you can pass on to other Pro and Pro 2 guys?
Dang.
Yeah, I think what gave me the edge was just kind of going in there and kind of telling him the deal and asking him what he needed and not really having any bullshit. And then being able to supply what, he needed and come through with that in order to make it happen. So I think that's what gave me the edge on that. And then I think the biggest things on like the pro team stuff is really just having the right people you're involved with, like having a team that wants to win and will do anything they need to and is willing to educate themselves on, each part of their job in order to do the best job possible. And I think that's what a lot of people in Pro 2 and Pro 1 miss. They just have like their friends out there helping them put their car together and keep it running and stuff when, maybe those guys either A, aren't the most qualified, or B, they don't really have the drive to win. And I think that's what this team has, is like they just kill it. They're so good at everything they do, and I think that's what allows us to basically lose because we didn't drive well enough, not because of the car.
Good damn answer. Master Vader 1618 says, "Why do you talk so much smack?"
Ooh.
Well, I think I also help a lot too.
You do. Like you have that video series about learning how to drift, which I think is really
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, I try to get back every way I can. I do talk a lot of smack with stuff that I don't believe,
Yeah.
or things that I think should be maybe
Different.
thought of in a different way.
I am with you,
drifting
buddy.
and
I'm with you,
whatnot.
buddy. I guess I wonder if we're known as the two biggest assholes in drifting.
I mean, people probably think I have a little bit of like an attitude towards stuff, but really I'm just kind of telling everybody how I feel about it. I'm very passionate about drifting, so when there's things like or people involved in the sport that are
Bullshit.
doing things that negatively affect it or maybe are uneducated on what's going on, I either try to educate them and have them make better decisions or at least give them my 2 cents on what's happening.
That's what I like about
I
you.
really
buddy.
like how you were doing reviews of the rounds, and you're like doing a review of every race and what were your thoughts.
Yeah, you've always kind of had interesting content,
Yeah,
which is very cool.
The only thing I would criticize is
Here we go.
No, but I'm just saying like not because of me, but like some of the way you refer to other drivers. Sometimes it might look like there's some beef in there.
Like what?
I
Which
don't
is a good. Can't be, having beef is not a bad thing.
Yeah, but I know there was no beef. It just kind of like makes it look like maybe it looks like Chelsea doesn't like this guy.
Unless
or
maybe
not.
that's on purpose.
But-
Unless you do have beef. Do you have beef
But
with
hey,
anyone?
Yeah, you have beef with anyone?
I mean, like I think I only have beef with one driver, and it's Osbo. I think everybody else I am pretty open about. Like I always say, like people make mistakes. It sucks that happened, but that's how it is. And then in the next episode, maybe that person won. Like I'm not like picking on anyone in particular. Besides, like the people that do something that might be negative to the sport,
Yeah. Have you watched Osbo and Mohan's battle from Atlanta?
I haven't seen that yet, and I just got back home last night. I've been so busy, but I have to catch up on my dissecting drifting for the last two
dude.
rounds.
Right.
Hit us with your
I was
review.
gonna say I'd
of
be
the
curious
round.
to hear what you say about the battle, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But what?
Yeah, I'll put it out for sure. I also broke my laptop, so I haven't been able to shoot or do anything with it.
Did you get really angry at Hyperfest and just slam it?
No, like it was such a silly thing. Like, we were at the airport and I was on my laptop, and my girlfriend like stood up and her purse hit it and like smashed it.
Yeah,
on the
actually,
ground.
I remember seeing that Atlanta now. Like the screen is completely ruined, and I'm sure,
Yeah.
and it costs like as much as a laptop to fix, of course. So
It does. That's the worst part. And I'm like not doing so hot in that department right now, so I've been trying to find a better way to fix it or get a new laptop.
what the giving Vaughn all your money department?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I actually don't give Vaughn any money.
Oh, do you want to talk about all the financials of your program? I'm sure Corey would
No,
love to
I'm
hear it.
good. I'm good.
What was that, Corey?
Corey just made the meanest face towards me. All right. Well, unless you guys have any more questions, then
Nope.
we may send this beautiful four-headed man into the night.
Yeah.
I say we send them off.
Have you
into the-
washed your lower hairline, upper forehead since I kissed it, or no?
No, I actually put a little bag over that area.
You should always bag it up when you're with me.
Bag it and sag it, dude.
Bag
Bob
it and sag
Saget.
it. Hell yeah! Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Chelsea, and I guess I'll see you in New Jersey, and then these other two dudes. You're not going to New Jersey either, are you?
I
guess,
I want to, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
I guess we'll see you at Grid Life then.
Yeah.
Man, Corey, I just watched your video of you on the Harley.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The gnarly Davidson.
The gnarly Davidson.
Dude, is that your bike?
No, it's Paco's. I borrowed it from Paco. Did you see my Nickelback shirt?
I did.
That one's his.
That's mine.
That
I
is
own
his
that.
for sure.
Dude, that is so good.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
So if you
I
guys
can't
haven't,
believe no one asked me about why I don't like Osbo or anything.
we kind of got into
Well,
it.
because
But,
I was-
that's actually where I was
I was
going with the
gonna go
Mohan
there, but-
battle. Well, that's where I was
Yeah.
going with the Mohan battle, but I got
well, I was
distracted.
going through all the questions on the thing, and I was like laughing because I was like
Oh.
looking at the ones you decided and which ones you left empty.
Well, didn't
But it's-
All right. Well,
no,
was,
fill us in
who
on
said
that.
it? Who said it? Let's give credit to the kid that said, "Why don't you like Osbo?" And then why don't you like Osbo?
No, we were just talking.
No, we
about,
were talking about the Osbo brake check or whatever happened.
No, I was talking about like when he reviews the rounds, and directly when he is is talking about one of Osbo's rounds, he He just what do you call him? Hello.
Yeah, what'd you say?
What do you call Osmo?
What
do you
do
have
you
a
call
nickname?
Osmo on your video?
I call him probably a lot of things.
It's fine. You don't have to do it again.
But I will say, like, again, like, the last 2 rounds, I think he's drove pretty heads up. Obviously, there was a mistake against Mohan, but, like,
I think it was a hard chase. I think he was chasing him. He was chasing Mohan like you might chase someone like Forsberg, and Mohan I think is a little less of a reliable driver. Osmo was trying to drive 2 inches off his door, and it bit him in the ass.
Yeah, and I mean, I also, like, I even complimented Osbo on his driving in Orlando. I said that he had great, clean driving, you know, like,
Yeah.
there was no games that he played, and you know, like, I don't want to be that guy that says, like, oh, like, Osbo's a little bitch, but the reality of it is, like, he straight up, either he made a mistake, or he did that on purpose. Either way, it's a bitch move, and he won because of that.
Where are you talking about? Orlando or
Like,
where?
in Long Beach.
Long Beach.
With Kristaps?
Kristaps.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
okay, Kristaps is probably coming in fast, for sure. But, like, in my video, I went through, I'm like, look, he doesn't even get on the gas until very far after the outer zone, which is an acceleration zone still,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
So, like, he does that often, you know? And I'm like, hey, like, just don't do that anymore. Like,
Yeah.
Which
you know, like,
you could make the argument that he just did that and it was a driver error, but then he straight up after the battle said that, like, what was the line that he said against Kristaps? He said Kristaps needs to.
Oh, like he needs to be angry at himself.
Yeah. So that he said.
yeah,
that.
like, let's be real here. Like, you either made a mistake or you did that on purpose. You never got on the gas in an outer zone, which you were on throttle every other run. Like, so you won because you made a mistake. Like, okay, but don't go and lie about it, like saying, like, I would never do that or I would never do whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
obviously you do. Like, people do that all the time. Like, I specifically could call you out multiple times if you're doing that. Like, just stop doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not doing it like, oh, Osbo's a dickhead.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Osbo's a really nice guy. And, like, he's a fantastic driver, probably one of the best drivers. But,
Yeah.
like, stop doing those, like, playing stupid games like that. Just drive heads up.
Yeah, and he may never let this down for telling us this on the show the first time we had him on. But yeah, like I asked him, like, hey, so, like, there's drivers that are straight up drivers, and there's drivers that do whatever it takes to win. Which one are you? He's like, I'm one of the guys that's going to do whatever it takes to win. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and I'm one of those guys that when you do whatever it takes and it's a bullshit maneuver, I'm going to T-bone you in the pits. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
stupid.
We've seen it.
You're
We've seen it.
winning, like, drifting's about being a badass and going out there and showing how much better you are than the other person, not how to trick them into hitting you.
Damn, dude.
Facts.
I like. I think we should shut it down right
yeah,
there.
you and Vaughn make a great team.
That's good.
Perfect for each other.
No, it's-
Anyways, but no, real talk though. Like,
Yeah.
Osbo's a phenomenal driver. I would love to drive his car. His team's also fantastic. Like, I'm really like, it sucks to like call someone out or something like that, but
Yeah.
that's affecting the sport as a whole. Like, people just need to not be doing that kind of stuff.
But as a driver, you are confident that he has in the past or recently or always has done these maneuvers. You're confident that from your position that this is not incidental?
Well, even if it is incidental, the judges need to be making calls on that too. You know, like, he always seems to weasel away with the win, and it doesn't seem like it's been going that way. You know, since the last 2 rounds, like, he won in Orlando heads up. You know, no beef. Like, and obviously in Orlando or Atlanta, he ended up hitting somebody and, you know, being deemed at fault for that. So, you know, I think that the sport is changing. I'm not saying it's changing because I called him out and said, watch out for this kind of stuff. But, you know, I think that at some point, if everyone's hating on your driving like that, I would hope that you would say, hey, like, I'm not going to do that anymore. Or I'm going to make my my best try at least not to do something like that.
Gotcha.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Either way.
But my ending note to all this is what the sport needs.
Chelsea's?
We need some, like,
More Chelseas.
well, here's the thing is this whole conversation that we had with the last 5 minutes about Chelsea calling somebody out, I'm excited
Yeah.
to see what's going
He's
to
like-
happen if they run. Like
He's
there's
like Macho Man Randy.
It's once
Macho
again, it's
Savage
creating
Man.
suspense. Having this type of conflict is not bad. It's great.
That's great.
I'm excited to see this now. I'm excited to see when Chelsea runs Osbo again, and I hope it happens very soon.
Well, Chelsea could just call everyone a little bitch right now, and it doesn't matter who he runs. You're going to be excited.
I don't think so because this has been going on for a year now at least.
Yeah.
So it has been building up to the Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao fight. You know, it's like one of these two dudes going to go
So-
against each other.
So by that logic, you're saying that me and Forrest Wang should have like a KY battle, like a wrestling
And
match?
you know what? I would watch that, and I'd be
Yeah.
excited to watch that because it
Cool.
is so much
Whoa.
tension and so much tension built up to that point.
Yeah, like if we just get in the ring with a bunch of pudding.
Yeah,
Love
and you guys
wrestling.
just scissored it out.
All right.
All right, Denofa.
that's-
Actually, one more thing, just because. Sorry.
It is
Because we're
good.
talking about Osbo. What do you think of Dean's phenomenon going on?
Dean.
James Dean.
James Dean and
James
and
Dean.
the way he's been judged and his successes. Is it legitimate? Do you think the judges are being more
Biased.
than maybe they have been with other drivers? What's your perspective?
I don't think so. I think James is a phenomenal driver. I think that his car is very well put together and it seems to be working. And I think that it's really hard to say that the judges are on his side because that would mean every judge in the world has been on his side.
Right.
I wasn't
Just
implying
like
that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I mean, his driving style is a little bit different, but I wouldn't say that it's different in the fact that like it's making him a winner. You know, I think that he has the ability to drive and tandem well enough to be a winner. You know, I mean, it's like his tandem. He takes chances and they work out for him. You
Right.
know?
He dives in incredibly hard and deep.
Yeah, and he's definitely his car is an extension of him. 100%.
Yeah.
It's not
that's
like
a pretty
he-
long extension.
But yeah, I mean, I think that he's got that car dialed in and fantastic, and I'm really actually excited to see how he does at Wall, given that track is like probably nothing that he's ever driven before.
There you go.
Yeah, but that's what people were saying about
Yeah.
Atlanta, and we saw what just happened there. So
Yeah, and honestly though, but if you looked at him on Thursday and Friday morning, like he didn't look so great.
Yeah, he was
getting
dialing
on
the whole
track,
time.
but he adapted very quickly,
Mhm.
and obviously he did really well. So I think that he's a phenomenal driver, and I'm stoked to see what else he has to bring to drifting in general.
if you go head to head against him, how hard are you going to hit him?
Well, I mean, I would hope that I would be able to drive really hard behind him and not hit him, and then vice versa. So I think we'd be a good battle. I drove him a few times in practice at the last few events, and we've always been jamming out for sure.
Nice.
Oh
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we have. I finally had a chance to have a few words with him at the ticket line in Atlanta, and super nice dude. So I'm excited to. We're gonna get him on the show sooner than later. I feel it, man. He said he wants to be on, but I did forget to get his phone number. So, so we'll see when we can finally make contact with the Irish
He
gentleman.
probably just didn't want to give you his phone number.
Yeah.
No,
Well, he
Chelsea.
didn't ask.
Yeah, you were in line right behind me talking shit.
Yeah, Chelsea, you meanie.
Yeah, you.
You're a meanie weenie, dude.
Apparently, I'm always talking shit.
It
You're a
is your
meanie. You're a
fault,
meanie
sir.
weenie.
Yep. All right. Later, you mean ween. Thanks for coming on the show, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having
Have
me.
a good night,
guys.
man.
All right, later, dude.
See you guys. Had fun.
We didn't. Later.
Yeah. All right, you meanie weenie.
All right, you little mean dog.
Dude, Chelsea, the sofa.
Oh, Paco,
just-
dude.
I'm sorry. I
Don't-
couldn't
don't go there.
I couldn't contain
Paco,
myself.
Look, we were all having fun here, but when you say stuff like that,
Chelsea
like,
does Super Soka.
oh,
That's actually kind of cool.
What else do you got?
Pump
You got
action.
one?
I would say Chelsea,
The Mustang.
most handsome man.
Oh,
Sorry,
That's why
Chelsea.
you kiss him.
Dang it, did it again.
nanny nanny boo boo, stick your head in doo doo.
Hey,
Did it again. No,
Sam
he's,
likes Chelsea.
He's one of the only drivers that talks shit back to me as hard as like he.
Yeah.
So
Well
the-
deserved.
I hate to even talk about it because people might be mad at me for doing it. I actually recorded a driver on driver with Chelsea last year in Texas.
Yeah.
That took me so long to edit that it's just never been released because it's no longer topical. So maybe like in 5 years I'll release it because
Yeah.
then it'll be like a nice little historical thing.
think
But
Behind the
should
scenes.
release
he was extremely unfazed by anything I said to him, and then also fired back.
I'm telling you, the only person I could ever see get under Chelsea's skin is Dustin, and I've seen it happen.
Yeah, what happened with Dustin and Chelsea?
So when we were in Panama together,
Yep.
Dustin ripped Chelsea and Chelsea.
Chelsea is
his girlfriend.
Chelsea's girlfriend. Yeah.
So they're Chelsea's. Dustin lit them up so hard all the time.
What'd he
like
do?
he would like put the hands in a circle, like, all right guys, 1, 2, 3, and then as soon as they put their hands, he's like, get out of here. Like just burn them on every little dumb thing that you could possibly burn on, or in front of people. And it's like Dustin's like, hey, why don't you guys just kiss in front of everybody? Like, come on guys, kiss up. And like just always put them on the spot.
He's just gaslamping them and being a dick.
Dude, always putting him on the spot everywhere. Everywhere we'd go, Dustin would just figure out one way to put him on the spot. To the point where Chelsea like pulled Dustin aside, was like, hey man, you really have to stop this. Other Chelsea's getting really upset.
Oh.
Can you tone it down a little bit, like for reals? And Dustin, as soon as that happened, he just went full
Yeah,
throttle.
I'd say if you tell Dustin to turn down, then
Well, you know the saying. There's always gonna be a bigger dick.
Oh, Dustin wins, dude. He's the only guy that ever
well, I was
seen
gonna
face
say
Chelsea.
because Chelsea is I think he's like a logical dick, and he'll say dick things that he might be thinking that usually make sense. Dustin is a chaotic dick.
Dude, it will not stop.
He will just go off the rails, of course. And
Dustin is like the YouTube comments.
Man, it is the best thing I've ever
he's
seen.
the YouTube comment section of a human being.
Yeah.
The human being.
At least before he got married. Now I'm sure he's just sitting smoking on his pipe and in his robe.
Actually, I hung out with Dustin today, and
Yeah?
all we think
Was he in a
about
robe?
No, all we think about is creating short video clips of things that we do want to see.
Yeah, so do it.
Well, we want to do it. It's just gonna take
do
some
it.
time. Do you, dude?
I'll be involved. I'll collab.
I'll tell you our what we want to do after the show, because I don't want to spill the beans, the human beans on it.
All right, don't spill your beans there. Let's get our thank yous into Patreon bros. We appreciate all your stuff.
Before we go,
Yeah.
I have a list for you guys for next episode,
Yep.
and I don't want to spoil it, but I like to hear what you guys think.
Okay.
I have a list for the best 10
doctors to give you a sex change.
No, it's been well, maybe. No, maybe that's a new list. But next episode, I have a list 10 best cars to turn into drift cars, since S chassis and they're becoming kind of like scars now.
BMW 3 Series,
Well,
BMW
and
5 Series,
No.
BMW
Z series.
Z Series.
They're affordable. They're cheap. They're fairly recent. Most of them independent suspension.
Previa, Riata, Aztec,
No.
Pontiac Grand Prix.
Give you guys. Guys,
I named every car that you owned.
Put it in the comments.
Miata.
What are you think are the next best upcoming drift cars that you don't see drifting, at least not here in the States, that are available here in the States, that need to start becoming
Ferrari, Lamborghini.
seen more often at Pro-Ams and amateur racing, and that needs to start getting some development parts.
A Lamborghini, Lamb, like a little goat.
Do you know that Russian car, the Vienna Beef Spark?
Nada. The what?
It's called the Vienna Beef Spark. It's Russian. It's electric.
Yep.
It's electric cow.
It's a sausage missile.
Pretty much is a straight up sausage missile.
Nice.
Yeah. So don't forget to check out our Patreon if you're not already on there. Super thank you to all our Patreon dudes. We're gonna do definitely another round of our our call outs for our big dog supporters on there soon. And don't forget to subscribe to the
If you're
show.
on iTunes, please subscribe
iTunes
and give us a
comments.
rating.
and rate it 5 stars or more. Otherwise, we will find you, and you don't want to see what happens when Paco's angry.
set of skills.
Paco's set of skills are the ability to buy as many cheap, shitty cars as possible.
My list is gonna be about different ways of skinning people who gives us 4 stars or less.
Nice, Paco.
Nice, Paco. That's cool.
That's cool, dude.
Thank you.
So you can check me out at Drift Idiot. Check Paco at Tofu Drift Fan, and check out Corey at hotdogs5legs.org
Hey.
and Corey Hosford and Street Standard.
Yeah.
All
Pretty
right,
much.
guys.
And we'll catch you
Next week.
next time we're here.